Ooh, excuse me. Let me see if I can hear myself. Okay, yeah, I can hear myself. Hey, so let me give my disclaimer. So it's another episode of Candace for Sale Views where I give my opinion on what I'm viewing in any mainstream media platform that you could think of. So today I just wanted to go over like the Solomon video that I did, the last video that I did of the Solomon Temple being what I believe is that library on Eastern Parkway in Flatbush. So I did wanted to also back up some of the information pertaining to all this kingdom talk. So I did look into some research about like these great floods and things like that, of how it seems like the scam is where they're coming in as rescues of great floods and things of that nature, where I believe they are causing the floods. It may be an accident, but it is recorded that most of these things they're doing is deliberate. So I did wanted to go over some of these. Let me see. One moment. So just to confirm and back up, the video of the Solomon, as you can see with the library, when I showed you, how the front entrance is exactly the same, and then at the top is like the third floor is like some like very connected where it's like the trustee or whatever that was, and then in the back you could see, and when you walk towards that way, that's where the garden and things were. So you could clearly see that the display of Solomon Temple is an exact replica of that library. And when you Google it, it comes up. It doesn't come up as a library. So you could try to Google the Brooklyn Library of Flatbush, but it doesn't come up as that. It comes up as a museum, which they do have the botanical garden and the zoo, but it's no museum there. So I believe that they're just saying that that library is a museum due to it being once a kingdom. I believe belonging to whoever. I'm not sure exactly. I will get to that with George and James and all those other things, because it could be all in one. So excuse me, I got something in my throat. Yeah, so I just wanted to back up where I was coming from, where I was talking about with this kingdom and the whole Albany and Troy. It was like a great flood in New York, but they say it was in upstate Albany and Troy. But I'm going to debunk that, and in my opinion, with the information that I found about the great floods that happened in 18 whatever in 1913 in New York, where they say it happened in Albany and Troy, which I show you where the parade starts is like where Utica, Albany, and Troy is on that Utica and Eastern Parkway. I believe that's where the flood happened, and I'm going to show you a picture that they showed, which shows that it's clearly the flood happened in Brooklyn and not actually upstate New York, because of the buildings that were there. And I'm from New York, and I know how the buildings and everything is set up upstate in Brooklyn. So I'm going to show pictures. This show you that these are not the two same settings. So they're showing you pictures of the flooding in Troy, Utica, and Brooklyn with these buildings that clearly look like the buildings in Crown Heights. And they're saying it's the flood from in Albany and Troy, which the flood came from the Hudson River from Prospect Park. And I'm going to show you a display of all of those details, just to show you when they first came here before they took over New Orleans, which is the original Egypt of the import export coming from New Orleans, going through North Carolina, going all the way up to upstates. The whole east of North America was very rich, very important, with produce and resources, sugar, all those things. They when they first encounter us, they had to take their own slaves and take what we were building in plantations here and set up shop in the West Indies and the Caribbean. That's where they took the sugar plantation thing, but we already had that in the east of North America. So I'm going to show you where they show you the timeline of slavery, and I'm going to show you pictures of the slaves, the black African slaves, in the same time frame. Pictures of people from the black people from the South, showing you clearly that they were trying to make a switcheroo, like they had. And I'm going to show you an actual article of Thomas Jefferson and a guy named Kosciuszko, which he's a Polish man, where they say that when the French was coming into Mississippi in, I believe, 17 something, they were bringing their own slaves. And they were trying to bring in slavery now towards the east of North America, and I'm going to show you the timeline. And they called the east of North America the areas that I'm talking about, from New Orleans all the way up to upstate, and even what I believe was Canada at a time. But the first encounter of the people from Greenland and Great Britain or whatever was when they came in through Montreal, and they did the same flooding. Once they were able to make, I believe, a canal going through Montreal, going all the way through from like Washington D.C., the borderlines of Canada and America. They made like a waterway where their ships could go through and have an easier way to transport, but they ended up settling in Montreal and all that around Toronto and all that around that borderline because of the water laws of the making that man-made canal. So same concept of when they flooded New York in that Brooklyn, downtown Brooklyn, like Bensonhurst, all Crown Heights, that area, a great big flood happened where they're saying it's upstate, but I believe in Brooklyn, because I'm showing you clearly they're going to talk about the Union and everything. And I showed you they had in scripture that this was gifted to the people that fought in the Union. So it's like, how is it so close in names? But these things happen near and not where I believe it really happened. But all the buildings and everything that they show you, the structures in these parades, and I'm going to get into like the African Day Parade and African American in Harlem, and how they had the West Indian Parade in Eastern Park of Brooklyn and things of that nature. We're going to get into how all those things, I feel like, how they trying to swipe us into these, like, anyway, we're going to get into that. Yeah, I know it's late, so whoever here is with me, hey, what's up? Try to stay with me a little bit. If not, you can always catch the replay. I just try to get in when I can and give out a little bit of information that I have. I have more information besides the Cotton Kingdom that I came across in the slavery timeline, of which they named the east area of North America. It was called the Cotton Kingdom. I'm going to also go over some stuff in Netflix. It's also more celebrities playing roles in Netflix shows, but not regular people. So the regular people in the Netflix shows that I showed you, they were playing themselves. They just changed their hair, whatever, because they're really not A-list. They're not money makers for the media, so they're not going to put much money into them playing these roles. So I guess they just put whatever. But I did find celebrities in Netflix, A-list celebrities that are doing mask or CGI or whatever they're doing with them. And I'm going to go over that and show you like two different celebrities in the same show. It's called Love is Blind in Netflix. Season 1 and season 2 had two celebrities in there, and I'm going to go over that after I just go over this really quick. So I was flip through because I have a lot of pictures. I'm gonna like go over. This is the article I was talking about the floods that happened in New York. But where they messed up at is the picture of the city that flooded. So they messed up because they're saying this is Troy in upstate Albany, the capital of Albany, but they don't build they're in a city. It does not look like how these buildings are. These buildings are clearly the buildings in Brooklyn, New York, Crown Heights, most likely area. Very, if you are from New York, you should know. And I do have pictures of the area that they said flooded, that actually flooded in upstate New York. And it's clearly not the same. These are like Annabelle country southern homes. This is more suburbs upstate. And this is more where they have more suburbs and stuff at. Clearly not nothing city wise here. It's just a lot of acre land and things of that nature in the upstate area. So when you look up the Troy situation, Troy is actually, as you can see, right behind Prospect Park where Hudson River is. And this is the same area where I told you after when I was showing you towards the other gate area, it leads to the park and the lake and all that to the back area where it starts to go towards Coney Island, where all the Russians and Polish, most of the people live at. So it's not no surprise that in the West Indians, they live on the other side where it's gifted, to the Flatbush and Crown Heights and all the way going down to the East 90 area. So it's clear as day that this is the actual Troy in Utica that they were actually referring to. It's clear, and they did most likely flooded them through the Hudson River to achieve this situation of the Great Flood in New York, Troy, and Albany. One happened in 1857. One happened in 1857. The one in Troy, and the other one happening in 19. So the point of me telling you about the one that happened in Troy in 1857 is clearly because this is around the time when all those people in those black outfits, was on the beach in Coney Island or walking on boards. Probably most likely once the water received from this area in Troy, that Prospect Park, Coney Island area of, this is common sense, right? So we already know that they flooded, that the story is horrendous. They said that they don't talk about any deaths, but it's clear as day whoever was living in this Brooklyn area, which I'm going to show you, is the Cotton Kingdom. They most likely was flooded out. They didn't say nothing about any rescues. They said the people that they did rescue, whether they were fine, they were fed well, they came to help out. And you could see like the pictures of the people in the boats is these guys that's in the black suits, most likely checking out their inventory. Like, okay, everything is flooded out. If anything, if people have not passed, they have to leave out because of the corrosion of stuff that happens when these places flood. It's like it's going to be a lot of rebuild, which could put people in a debt or whatever when you're looking for someone to not only assist you to figure out how to get you out of these situations and out of this flooding situation, get you in a boat and save you. You're kind of going to be putting yourself in the hands of these people when they start to put you in the stadiums or wherever they're putting you to replace and help you rebuild, or whenever you're ready to go back. When you're going back, somehow, some way, I believe the laws change where I don't know whether they're helping to fix the infrastructure, and that's why when it floods, they come back and they're there. Because once New York flooded, boom, a whole bunch of y'all were on the beach, walking in with your outfits and having boards on the mud stuff and like just rebuilding the area. So it's kind of like, okay, you messed up. And they say that everything was ruined. They said there was no drownings or fatalities, but the fire loss was heavy. The buildings in most cases being totally lost. 6 to 8 in some east, 10 feet water prevented the firemen from doing anything at all. Hundreds of people, particularly in the South, and were homeless, and they had the world was in many cases destroyed. The loss cannot be calculated, but corporations, merchants, and businessmen suffered heavily. Now, this is in 1850. Most of you people were not even here yet. So, who were these businessmen? Who were these merchants and these corporations? So they said the National Guards patrolled the streets day and night. So doesn't it sound familiar, kind of like what happened in Katrina, where it seems like things got taken over and you can't afford to fix things, so you got to take out loans through these people and this and that. It's kind of like a scam, right? Because now they kind of like your house kind of if you have to refinance or whatever, and there's no, I don't know if insurance is really going to be covering natural disasters, but maybe so. I don't know, but I'm pretty sure that whatever they're doing, like it says, they said a lot of people, in the results of the floods in New York State, they said that the factories were closed, schools were closed. The end of the cities was underwater, and the police rescued residents through boat. But I don't see no police. These people were all in black suit, and this is the 1850s. What police system was in place? Was it a police system in place? Maybe, I do not know. Because I am going to go into in the 1700s when they were saying Polish people, and this is because the USRR at one point was all in one cohesive. I think at some point they kicked us out, the Cotton Kingdom people, and did a deal with the Latin, Central Brazil people. Kicked us out. Like, we're the only people that got kicked out. I think y'all all NATO took a whole circular, and that's where we're gonna get back into like the turtles and being in a shell, and our turtle power and things of that nature, and like how Arabs or Saudi Arabia, things like that, where they worship or they look highly of a turtle, and we're gonna get into that because most of these people that's in there, they're all Persian, they're all like Asian. Anyway, I'm gonna get into that. So anyway, so it's clear that the Troy flood was that area that I showed you from Utica, the bank and everything. They said the banks, everything was ruined. All the business and lost their stuff. So this is clearly the beginning of the coming in New York and taking over the whole area of what I showed you. Coming from that flood from Prospect Park, and you see how the Troy thing. So there's probably like the Trojan horse thing where they came in and gave us that gift of the Statue of Liberty, and then all these people came in. It's the same story, you know. I don't know how they all got to the Statue of Liberty, but that's like somewhat like the Trojan horse where they all just jumped out from there. And so all the Russian and Polish people do live in Coney Island. They took over that area. It's a lot of beautiful areas. It's the ocean, Wichita Parkway and everything over there. Anyway, so yeah, so these people lost everything. They said the National Guards patrolled the streets night and day, so it seems like they're enforcing something. And they said that they were able to get some power plants and things back on, so it wouldn't be so miserable. In Mechanicsville, I don't know what Mechanicsville mean, but in New York, it seems like a lot of industrial things were happening there. A lot of this is the city of technology, due to the Niagara Falls being a high power source, and then the Amazon being like the second power source. So you see how America is really the very important piece of land mass to the outer areas. And I'm going to explain the Goldilocks, the area that we are in, the Goldilocks thing with Earth, and how Mercury, Venus, Earth, and then it's like Jupiter, and then they say about Jupiter, Saturn, and all those other things, they don't have land. They're only able to have water. And I'm going to explain that because I already explained to you the planets is actually these regions, the seven realms of the world. And of course, if you're not in the Goldilocks section, which is South America and America, the Goldie and the Locks. If you're not an original or aboriginal, then you're most likely out in Jupiter, Saturn, and that your outer space alien world where only water and stuff. And I'm going to explain that as well. I have to push a lot of stuff in because I cannot come up here as much as other people. God bless them. If I try to explain as best as I can because I'm not a teacher, but I know a lot of stuff. And I try to explain things as best as I can, especially stuff about like the South and how a lot of this history about people, about the Goldie people, not the Locks people, but the Goldie people have been erased. They're like, we're the only people that don't have their own nation. We're the only people that don't have, we have our own nation. We're all from America, from the States, but they just won't give us that. And then, we're the, and it's not like you can't uproot us. So you could come pile on in, but you're just piling on top of us. And we're not doing that to you, up amongst y'all in y'all areas. When you go in China, It's nothing but Chinese people. You go in Japan, it's nothing but Japanese people. When you go and, Jamaica and things like that, it might be a little bit mixed, but majority is going to be Jamaican people. So, majority of people here is Black American people, and then there's like a lot of mixed stuff, but you see what the base is. And it's coming from this region of Mississippi. And I already explained about Mississippi and their river, and that's how New Orleans got taken out. So you got to understand how important New York and New Orleans and this whole passageway of the resources were, and why they were trying to eliminate us out of the whole equation. Because as you see of the Revised Bible, it begins by saying sharing is caring. Like, because I'm pretty sure people from the South, like, I don't know about everybody, but most people, I'm pretty sure we wasn't trying to share. I'm pretty sure we was probably talking about people like dogs, talking about their hygiene, this and that. So all that stuff about y'all teaching people, like African people teaching Europeans how to do their hygiene. Not to be rude, but you could tell because y'all kind of both have the kind of like the same hygiene. Like, you know what I'm saying? So take that for what it is. And I'm pretty sure if we encountered y'all from the South, we probably told y'all about yourselves, because that's just how people are from the South. They talk about you like a dog. They gossip a lot, and they probably were saying like, "Oh, you didn't wash your ass," and things like that, or you didn't, smell right, because they would let you know. And that don't sound like something an African person would do, but that's something definitely a person from America, from the South, would definitely tell you. So I don't know about all this, what y'all learned from Africans. It seems like y'all learned a lot of the same kind of stuff. And when y'all come over here, it's real classy, it's real nice. You get cotton. It's not that material that y'all use. It's like really good, like, it's kingdom stuff. It's like, you see what I'm saying? And now we're going to get to the fact that y'all acknowledge that was a kingdom. They acknowledge that. And I found an article about the time frame of slavery. And I'm so looking for it. I wish I would have already showed you guys, because this is the whole point of me proving that I was accurate in my assumptions about that area over there with yeah. So let me see, one moment. Let me just show you really fast where they say, I can't really, I know I put it up here fast. Up here. Okay. All right. That's weird, because I thought I had it in the front. Okay. So here it is. All right. So it says resistance by enslaved people in Natchez, Mississippi, 1719 to 1861. Okay, so they're trying to give you a time frame of slavery right here. Don't know if that's clear. I don't know if that's clear. This is what I've been trying to explain to you guys from day one of when I've been doing. Why did that shut off? Did you see how weird that was? It just shut off on its own. And it like literally did like a thing like it was about this. And I'm like, I know my phone is not dead. And you know how long it took me to find that picture? Let me see. One moment. Yeah, so anyway, I'm going to show it anyway. So we'll just get back to that. All right. Let me put this in the front just in case. If it cuts back off, I don't want to look for it. So, do you see the last place that got taken down? This is the time. This is the theme in time period. Okay, this is the theme and time period of the slavery, the colonization. And I'm going to get into the colonization of the Columbia, the British Columbia, all of that stuff is literally colonial Umbria. And Umbria is like the middle area of Italy. It's like the center town of Italy. So anything that is like Columbia is colonial Umbria. And that's just them letting you know that that's basically like Umbria, whatever, being colonizers. So Great Britain and all those things in that nature is most likely coming from Italy and over in that area. And you already know that Italy came over and took over the Yorkshires, the Norwegian, whatever you want to call it, interacted with the Yorkshires, which is Scotland, them British, African, Dutchman people from Greenland, all Iceland, all that area over there. I'm going to get into Greenland because I believe Greenland is connected to Antarctica, and they're just not advising us because it's the only area that is frozen along with Antarctica, where obviously waters rose way above the area of living and above into the skies where it froze over. And they are also advising that a lot of things are melting in Antarctica, things of that nature, which is causing a lot of disease and things like that could come out from old bacteria that could cause, which they believe was the Spanish flu at some point when things were melting in Antarctica prior. But I'm going to also go into a theory where they're stating that a lot of people from geo tribes from back in the Central Americas are actually coming out of hibernation or isolation, and is causing issues. And they said that they were going to make their way up towards the North Americas and things towards 2025, which if this article was in 2015, that was about 10 years ago. You see, 2 years from now or 3 years from now will be 2025, where they stated they will already have reached over this area. So you can already see, I'm not sure if you're following all of that. I'm not going to be able to show you all these articles of all that, those kind of details. I would love to take that amount of time to explain all of that, but it's very difficult to do something like that because it's a very big, vast conversation to have about all these things. But anyway, let's get back to the Naztec, Mississippi situation where they were advising when the Mississippi is the beginning of where the Cotton Kingdom, and they stated slavery really began in 1833 there. They stated the first people that actually came in bondage in slavery in the Naztec, Mississippi was in 1719, right? In 1719, they say that they first came French. They said from the time of their first arrival in Natchez, enslaved people resisted bondage. Slavery existed in Natchez beginning in 1719, continuing through French, British, Spanish, and finally American rule. Then in 1863, in the midst of Civil War, President Lincoln signed the Emancipation. I'm going to get into that because the Emancipation, I'm going to explain this. It's very weird. It's very, the verb, you got to read the verbiage of this all. So, the situation with this, with the Nash check, they give you a story that goes with it, right? I don't know if I'm too close, but yeah, so they goes with it with this guy named Kosciuszko, right? So they stated that he was coming in, not specifically him, but they were coming in with their own slaves, their own African slaves, these Frenchmen in Mississippi. And they stated that when they were coming in with their own slaves, they started to beat they're saying they never said the other black. I'm assuming it was other black people or other black kids there because they said they started to beat their sons like they were beating their slave sons, and the people did not like that. And then eventually it was a resistance in Mississippi where it led to eventually slavery, which was from 1719 to finally 1833, where they took over the Cotton Kingdom from 1833 to 1865, as you can see. And the Cotton Kingdom was from Mississippi, that whole Turtle Island area. And this is the only place that's called the Kingdom. As you can see, the theme of the timeline was this is where African American timeline comes from. The cultural crossroads in 1519 to 1718, the cultural crossroads. This is when they started coming into the back areas in Montreal, the Central Americas, and they was trying to make land in Virginia. The cultures were starting to cross in. Now they're saying joining the United States. Joining the United States just hit in 1799, so they was not in the United States in 1799. When they was bringing these slaves in 1719, they're going to give you a story advising that it was people there, and the French people were bringing their own African slaves to work in there. And they stated that they started to beat their own sons, the people that was already there, as if they were the African slave sons. So that caused an uprising of issues because they were beating their kids instead of beating their slave son, whatever. And I'm trying to find an article on that. And I'm going to get into Colonel Sanders. We're going to have to get into Colonel Sanders and that Kentucky Fried Chicken. Okay, these are colonial. This is the colonial takeover, okay? Yeah, so wait a second. Let me see the story on this. Where they was beating the kids, and I'm assuming who else kids would they beat that would resemble slaves but are not slaves in the area of Mississippi in the Cotton Kingdom. Who would these people be? It would be us. But they don't admit that. They just go and pass by and ignore us and use other ways. Like they try to ignore us so bad in the way how they say things. Now these are the kind of people I'm talking about. I just want y'all to just show since I'm going across the video.
Everybody's tripping, and that's why there's nothing in there.
So listen to this guy.
You've been down at the church here since I was 7 years old. Yeah, the church.
He trying to be funny because this is some funny guy from YouTube doing like little harassments in Walmart and not paying these people $1 to get over hundreds of thousands of views, knowing that these are also he's an immigrant, West Africa, who knows what they are. They always get on these big platforms. Of course, they're just so lucky, and it harasses men. The Goldie and then the locks. And I'm going to get into the Goldilocks where we live. The Goldie and the locks. The North America and the Central America. And the two brothers that I've been talking about from day one. The Jam Rocks and the South, the Church of the States. This is like a demonstration of these two kind of people right here.
You've been down at the church here since I was 7 years old. Yeah, the church ain't the same no more. It's not. And the church is not the same. Everybody's tripping, and that's why. There's nothing in there. I'm on the phone. I'm on the phone. Oh, you on the phone. You know that you just out there shopping. You know your family fucked up. You don't care. Man, what the fuck you trying to do? You don't know me.
See, now he done met his own people. He ready to be very vulgar. They always swearing like sailors. He like, you don't know fucking know me. He ready to curse. I'm too ignorant. Not saying being rude to all. I'm just saying they do this on purpose. He's being rude to this guy. This guy thought he was being serious about the church, and he's trying to spend. I've been in the church since 7 years old, and he was like, the church ain't the same. And he tried to thought he was serious and was about to have a real conversation with this man, but he like, oh, okay, he a weirdo or whatever, as y'all usually are. And this is the problem. The weirdo stuff is annoying, and the thing is, it was always a scam. It's a con artist, salesman type thing. They get these platforms they're put in place on purpose and acting like they're successful and they're cool, and it's just a forced success. A forced success.
Yeah, the church ain't the same no more. It's not. The church is not the same. Everybody's tripping, and that's why. There's nothing in there.
Now, Pops was about to drop some jewels, and he cut him off on purpose. He ain't here for that. He godless. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people are not from the God's, the state. And I'm going to get into the God city in Brazil and the flag of Brazil with that one eye symbol. But we're not on Brazil yet. Now, this is scary as hell. Now, I know this is New Orleans. And look at all that purple like Kanika. Talking about wake up. They trying to wake her up. I don't know what kind of stuff, what kind of traditions this is, but this seemed like voodoo to me. And we know it's not us because look at that wig. Look at the stockings on. These people, we know what's going on. I'm pretty sure this is New Orleans, too. They took over that area. There's a lot of them over there. I did want to get into Antarctica and how it's related to Greenland, the Adam and Eve, Cain, Chinese, Russian, German ideology of when the URRS was all working together at some point, where we, the Cotton Kingdom, the northeast area of New York, and going down to the south, was working with Greenland, Iceland, the United Kingdom area, which was in China, Russia, which was formerly known as the USRR. I believe that they kicked us out of that because we were the dominant, of course, people due to the resource of the land. I'm pretty sure, as I advised, where production stopped, where we was probably trying to help all those civil wars of sending us out, sending all those black men out, and then making them like enroll without a choice. Was setting them up for suicide and obviously changing the game after they came back from the floods. This is in Ohio, where they flooded Ohio out, and this is how they take over the areas after they have done so. And they destroy everything and hide the history. Because a lot of people did not know that this area was called the Cotton Kingdom. And that slavery didn't really even start to take place until 1833. And I'm trying to find an article to advise you that only slavery that was taking place was these people that they had come in to work. Um, as you can see, like indentured servants, they were coming in like in the Annabelle time, working with black women. I don't believe they were working with African American women. They were working with us, and this is the slaves that they were bringing in. And you could clearly see that at this time frame, in this year frame, I showed you my family that predates this, where we are not intermixing or looking like this. It's we're a whole different looking people, and you could clearly see who's the people that was coming in here, piling up and being slaves. And if you could see with this lady, she's not even looking African. She looks like she's from South Africa, whatever. All of them, Brazil, whatever, wherever they're from. But they're not from here. And they started to put them upon us. And they stated that they started to, when they were beating their slave sons, they started to beat their sons. So I'm thinking, who are they talking about? Because only people that will be similar to them will be the black people in the South will be us. And I'm trying to still find that story. And you can see why they give us our parade with the Africans in the African American Day Parade, where we're supposed to go all the way up to Harlem and march for that. And then the West Indies, where we're from, in Brooklyn, where most of us is in Brooklyn. We're all over, but a lot of us is in Brooklyn. They want us to go all the way to Harlem, Manhattan, which makes sense because this is, all, flooded out, and we've all been attacked in these areas. This is all where we were, from Manhattan up, to these areas. But they give them the West Indian Day Parade going up Utica and down, obviously, because they won that in the Union when they were fighting in those wars, and they were sending us overseas and being veterans. And if you know what a veteran, like a veterinarian, if you think about it, it's like we were trying to train pets, what I'm saying? Like they were sending us over to be training these wild animals, or like these wild people, which, they were sending us to, what was it, like the Vietnam or whatever, I don't know. So anyway, so yeah, this guy Kosciuszko, he has this in this area in Mississippi. So I was wondering who the guy Kosciuszko was, and like I stated, he was a Polish man from up from the as you can see, Poland, and all of this is all the same area. And I'm going to get into that as well, because it's all basically Russia. As you can see before, what they were called before. They're the only places that's changing their names out, because they continuously are, changing with races, when you have the Asians and the Africans mixing together and making Persians and Iranians and things of that nature, and Indians. And I'm going to get to the red dot Indians. It's obvious they're more Asian than Indian. And then you obviously see the story about India is where they stated at some point it was floating and broke off from South America, and it broke off and floated for like 400 or something years remote, and then it finally landed into that area of Japan, or in that area, and they named it India. So it's common sense that, and and these Indian people are the ones that call you all day, nonstop, saying that they are, with the Social Security company, or they're with your school student loans, or please just give me your information. I'm desperate. These are the same people from India that calls you all day and tries to steal all your information, and they are like Silicon Valley, where they'll just become a chameleon and just steal everything about you. So we can understand that they probably stole the Indian concept as well, because India is more of the South Aboriginal men in Brazil and over there, where they're making a lot of Albanian looking people. You have Chad, you have not Chad, you have Peru, you have I don't know what all those places back there, but it's like a lot of like Italian areas, or Iranian. They speak Portuguese, Albanian, all kinds of stuff back there. Also Latin, Spanish, and things of that nature, and Western, and all the West Indies and stuff start to come out of when you go up towards the Central America. Anyway, which is the Locks people, and we're the Goldie people. So it's the Goldilocks, we're the Mercury, and I can show you. I'm looking for stuff, but it's very difficult. I don't want to be up here too much longer. I'm gonna try to make more sense one day, but it's really not enough time. Okay, so as you can see, we're like coming like the sun. We're like going straight for from the sun, right? As when you see the map. So look at the map of the not this planets, but look at the map and think of Mercury as being like the back area with the the markets back there, the mercados. Think of that area being Mercury going forward to Venus, which is more Amazon, Brazil going up. Then you have Earth, which is Mexico and our area, the 50 states, the land. Then we have Mars, that's going towards Greenland and up that area. Jupiter being the United Nations, and of course Saturn being Italy, the over in that area. Uranus is obviously the Ukraine, and Russia, and Neptune is the Neptunes. Asia, China. You see what I'm saying? So they explain to you that the sun really don't hit these people back here on the earth, but it hits us. It hits us, even Greenland. You see what I'm saying? Because Greenland is considered part of America, but you got to it's separate from us, from Mercury, Venus, and Earth. You see what I'm saying? And they say women are from Venus and men are from Mars. So you got to understand the masculinity that happens over in Greenland, the Arab, the Italian area where the men are cooking, the men are, and then the woman, Venus, our land, the motherland originally, will be more nurturing, mothering, blah, blah, blah. So now I don't know if you understand that. So the sun is basically, we're hitting it, and we're just lined up. It's just hitting the land a certain way, and it explains to you that they don't even get no water, something like that, back there when it starts after the Goldilocks. Mercury, Venus, Mars, and this is the Goldilocks. And then everything out here is wasteland, Asia, whatever. And this is where you're gonna get all that wild stuff going on, wild things, aggressive things. It's getting hot. I'm just trying not to sweat. Oh god. All right. So this is not good. Let me see if I can get a tissue. Oh Jesus Christ. I'm hot. Okay. So let me try to cover the sweat spot. I think it's the sweater. Because it's like that material that's like fleece. But anyway, I do want to talk about the Peru and Brazil. This is what I was trying to explain to you guys about one theory about what's going on with how we're getting all sick and stuff. They said recent emergencies of isolated tribes from jungles in Peru and Brazil is challenging officials in countries to rethink no contact policies and to prepare for the possible wave of first contacts as the Amazon wilderness that harbors the highly vulnerable indigenous groups continue to shrink. The people are going to come out, said Jose Carlos Morales, a veteran of more than 40 years working to protect some of the Brazil's most mysterious and seldom glimpsed uncontacted tribes along its remote and largely lawless borders. Okay, so lawless with Peru. I believe we're going to see a succession of first contacts in the coming 10 years. And this article was in August of 2015. So obviously you could kind of see what's going on here, where if we are coming in contact with these people of the next 10 years, it will be in this time frame. Okay, of what we're seeing at the border, these groups of people, they're saying these are isolated tribes emerging from anywhere from lawless areas. So all those people that was at these borders, you could probably see that. I don't know if it takes that many years to walk from Brazil to like the Mexican border, but I'm pretty sure that they had some type of connections to all this stuff, right? So yeah, I think I proved my point about the Cotton Kingdom and how we were our own people and they destroyed and destruct everything with all those floods, all those areas they wanted to snatch up. Going from California, Ohio, definitely took over the whole Cotton Kingdom. Eventually, as you can see, they joined and harassed us from the 1800s. And then once they got into our area in the 1833s, by the 1850s, y'all were on the Coney Island beach taking all our stuff after the flood receded from the Hudson River that you had pouring out from Parsket Park in Troy, in our Troy in Brooklyn. So, yeah, so that's kind of showing that we are the royalty of Troy and all that other stuff. And Egypt is New Orleans, the city of gold, and all these. We had all these Fort Knott things and of that nature. We had all those banks. I don't know how much I could explain else to you guys. It's clear as day we're not the same people as I showed you, even in the same time frame that these slaves, they didn't look anything like us. They stated that after the wars, the villages and cities and towns in the South were utterly destroyed. Okay? After the war, the village and cities in towns in the South were utterly destroyed. Okay? Confederate bonds and currencies became worthless. All the banks in the South collapsed, and there was an economic depression in the South with deep inequality between the North and the South, which you could also put on the Macy Dixon cut line. And I'm going to go over the Macy Dixon cut line as well, of where the Britons were saying they were more in control. And then when the French and them started to partake in Virginia, where they were trying to take control, they ended up having a cut line of where they were saying, well, we're going to bring our slaves here under the Mason Dixon cut line where they were having them work. But it was already a group of people and civilization already there. But then, of course, as you can see, the massacre that happened, they took over and a lot of things has changed. And I'm going to get into the names as well. So anything like Washington or something like that will be people from New England. Anything that's like Jackson, Son will be people from east of North America, like the South, the Cotton Kingdom, like the Hudson River, the Jefferson as the president, the this and that, all these sons, right? So we have Ellington or Washington, that is New England. When you get over in America, it's Jackson, Jefferson, Anderson, Johnson. And when you go any other places like Valdez or Mendez or Lopez, or we have the Italian, or we also have the Russians and the Africans, where it's Kosciuszko. That is like Russian, but it's more like Black African Russian, where that's the Black Jews. Where I showed you like Jay-Z uncle, more with the furs. That's where they were showing like black guys that was like selling drugs or whatever, wearing those furs. It kind of like when they was any movie that Denzel played in is like movies about us and all the bad moves we made. Like from Malcolm X when he went into when he went to Egypt and he found out that we were not the same people, and that's why they got rid of him when he came back from Egypt. He was saying he loved how the brotherhood and stuff was like that over there, but those were not our people. He realized that those brothers or those Arabs, Indians, or whatever African, he was like, yo, we not. It ain't there for us. Like I don't see nobody like me. And remind you, Malcolm X used to be a man from I forget exactly where he's from, but from east of North America in that area, and he go by Little Red, and he was like a pan, hustler, and of course that's how we had to live. As when he was Little Red, he had to be a hoodlum, American gangster, and ended up in jail, and then converted to Islam, blah blah blah, because obviously they try to intake you and say, hey. Well, if you don't want to be a hoodlum or this and that, you would have to come under this brotherhood. And once he realized that, when he went into that brotherhood and went to Egypt, the Egypt that from here, if you would have went to New Orleans and stuff, and in certain areas, he'd have saw some of us and some other people probably, but he saw a lot of us and he'd have understood. But when he goes to Egypt in Africa, Kemet, wherever you want to call it, Kush, whatever you want to call this place, Asia, when he went over there, he realized this is a nice place to be. You guys look all them Arabs, if he was in his face, and he was like, this is in Muslim African men was in his face, and he was like, this is beautiful, but like y'all, he realized at that moment when he was doing that press conference, when he was giving that speech, his verbiage was like, this ain't us. And that's the demise of the Gorn. That's when they planted his stage out. Now, I don't know if Malcolm X was a part of this, because sometimes like when Muhammad Ali, all these people where they changing their names and things like that, they could be a part, like secret squirrel spies and things like that, where they're playing both sides or whatever, or mixed breeds. And it's a game that they're playing where they let us know our information like it's a joke or disclosure. Like McDonald's telling you, hey, it's 15,000 calories, but you don't care, you're not really paying attention to that. So you're choosing to get heart disease or whatever because they're giving you a disclosure while you're ordering that Big Mac. So I don't know exactly, but anyway, any movies that Denzel plays in is very telling of our lifestyles. American Gangster, where the black man is very innovative. They tried to give us coke and stuff to sell. That's not something that we create. But yet here we are. If we buy coke from this man, we're giving him what? I'm not an expert on that, but black men from America probably know this better than they know any history. But you buy your coat or whatever your stuff, and then the black man figured out how to make a business out of that and make crack. You understand what I'm saying? I don't even think to this day white people and stuff have the formula of crack down pat the way a boy from the hood would. You know what I'm saying? And it's not a good thing, but sometimes when you give us stuff, no matter what you give us, we're going to innovate and become a CEO of it, if that makes any sense. So then, of course, it causes a backlash of now, we got to throw you under the jail because you guys can't, we don't want y'all. So now the things that you could do that get you in a running of, okay, I'm not the last guy on the pedestal of the races, they cause you to go to jail for it. Even though you innovated chemistry, you got Dexter on them and got into the kitchen and cooked it up a little bit and put a little bit of this, put a little bit of that, and next thing you know, you making 100 more. You know what I'm saying? You making a whole lot more. Instead of making 50, now you're making 150, whatever. So anyway, I'm just showing you how the mentality of these men that you try to keep down, or just the race that you try to keep down, but guess what? It's just like, y'all wasting your time. And on top of that, it's to a point where you're going to have to start the enforcement again because we're waking up. So anyway, I really don't want to continue on with that because it's kind of clear as day. No doubt about it. If I go to the map and show you what I mean, I'm going to try to get like a big map and show you all the names of the United Nations. How some of it is not understandable. It's like very Asian, African like areas in the country where the names of their areas are, and the only thing that has any English is like towards New England, like that little area. It has somewhat like English words, but you can tell it's like a hard accent on their English words where they're speaking like British. and not really American. So that's where you're getting the Washington and the Ellen Ton, and they're not saying son. So you see what I'm saying? They took our surnames because that's not their names. If you look into the areas where they have Ellington, Washington, with these names of Ton or whatever, it's a very small area in that area in the United Nations. Then it goes back to these foreign names. So it's like, okay, those are not your names. It's kind of common sense. This is a whole area full of these names, and then you take the sun and make it a ton in a small little area and say this is we're deriving from that. No, it's because you encountered us first. I already told you the Chinese and all those people were harassing us first. Russia. That's why you don't hear about Russia or China, because they were down with us first, and they had the little tiny China store in Manhattan or something, and the next thing you know, things went bad for us. You know what I'm saying? Just because we were hanging around y'all. They said Thomas Jefferson was really cool with Kosciuszko, the guy Kosciuszko from Poland, and then he had to forge a passport to get him back to his country. And they said Kosciuszko left everything to Thomas Jefferson. But this doesn't make no sense because Thomas Jefferson is from here. So why him being Kosciuszko being in Mississippi would leave everything to Thomas Jefferson? And he's being from Poland, and this is in like the 17 or the 18 or something like 100. But mind you, Thomas Jefferson is known to have married black slaves or had a black woman and it was a young girl, whatever. So you gotta understand Thomas Jefferson might have been a black southern man from the Cotton Kingdom. And then, you know, Kosciuszko wasn't leaving him a thing because he was a good friend of Kosciuszko, and maybe Kosciuszko was doing business with him, but he said he had to forge a passport for him to go back home. So what happened there? Why they're not explaining everything. They're leaving a lot of gas out. And why would he have to leave everything to Thomas Jefferson and go back with a forged passport back to Poland or wherever he went? Which I have the documentary here, but I'd rather say it verbally because it's very hard to look for all these documents and show you the pictures and show you all the stuff. It's just a lot. Yeah, so and I also wanted to talk about like the Annabella time as well, which was like in the 1800s, where these women just took over the upstate area of those row homes and those wraparound porches and things like that. Yeah, and just to show you of a lot of these people, just to show you a lot of these people, these are the people that's like coming over here. These are like these are like the Arab Indian, like all these like uh I don't know if they're grenade. What do they call these people? Anyway, Indian people. It's kind of clear where the white people kind of derive from. Is like Asian, African, Indian. You know, if you look at it real well, it's like very. You can see it clear as day. It's like African and Asia, all mixed in here. Okay. So that's why we're telling y'all all one people, and then we are all one people. This is not us. None of these people are us. None of them. Nope. These are people that migrated here on top of us. Okay? These are the people that's from like Great Britain, Greenland, going from Jamaica, going to the islands. They went from, the Yorkshires going to the islands, conquering all the way into like Africa. The French has took over South Africa and all those areas. Okay. So let me just show you a family of a black family. One moment. Okay, I just wanted to try to show the black people that's from here. Okay, this would be more like black. This would be like Big Mary, Big Mama. I already showed you how my family, like my great great grandfather, Henry Garrison and things like that is these are more of the people from America. Okay. These are more, we don't have to braid our hair stuff. We'll put curlers in it and twist it or put a roller curler in it and go to church. You know what I'm saying? These are different people. All right. And this is the same people from the native Spanish areas, but they mixed them with, that's when the Caribbean, when they started to mix the cultures, as I showed you, Um, as I showed you already. And you see these black people they're stating they're from like the Seneca village in Manhattan and things of that nature. So you see why they flooded us out, okay? And all those businessmen, all those banks, all that's the devastation happened to these people. Okay, not the other people I was showing you, all those other groups of people. You don't see us in the border homes like I just showed you. Those people were dressed very well, just like my great 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 grandparents. They were dressed very well. Um, yeah, they were dressed very well. They weren't looking like they were at no boarded up area. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta understand that it's like a whole totally different situation going on. You know, they don't do they look like the same people that I was showing you on how they were in doubt. Those other people, they want to the emancipation helped them take over our stuff and free them in America. And a lot of those people, they said they went back home, back to the West Indies. They said a lot of them went back to the West Indies, and a lot of them they went back because they had to set their shop up in the West Indies. You know, that's where they took all their sugar cane and stuff because they couldn't do it in the South because it wasn't theirs. They were just mimicking us and trying to open their own shop. Columbus, and you already know Colombia, all that is just the Italian, Asiatic people. One moment. Woo. Okay. But I don't know if people still with me in that, but I don't know if I'm making my point really about the South and Brook and America and New York and how all this stuff is incorporated and how Central America, the Amazon, all of that stuff. I don't know if any of this stuff is connecting well, but you could clearly see how they took over with the floods. It's an ongoing, the whole America, how they just constantly just wherever a river or something was at, they made sure we got flooded out. Where you could clearly see we secured all those things because from all that time before these encountering of these people and then all these floods and fires. Once we encounter these people, you could clearly see why they say that these people are in control of the weather or things of that nature. You could think of a tornado. You could think of Torah and those Jewish, like the tornadoes and and like they say like it's named like El Nino and things like that. I don't know. Like anyway, so our Mary makes this Santa Maria the central, our Mary and then there's their Maria, and it makes them that's their I guess whatever, you know what I'm saying. However they want to look at it, where that's where like the Catholic, I think, like the Saint Mary or something like that, the Virgin Mary of that nature. So they still stealing our stuff because obviously the Mary situation comes from like Virginia, like Maryland, Virginia. So the Virgin Mary, you can clearly see like everything happened here. So I already told you like my father's family is from Virginia. And his father is a Jackson. And in Mississippi they have Jackson, Mississippi, and then right around it they have a town called Pocahontas and things of that nature. And like when I used to be like in PAO or whatever, this guy, his name was Reggie. Rest in peace to him because he did pass away. But he used to give us all nicknames, and like my nickname was like Pocahontas, and I guess it was like Pocahontas. I told you I was putting them just for me perms in my head, and my hair was cute, but it wasn't like how it should have been, like how it could be. But because that perm and stuff would take all that nice native bushiness out and it'll make it all flat. So anyway, I had like my little flat wrap or whatever, and I was getting called Pocahontas, but I understood what he meant. You know what I'm saying? Because the real Pocahontas would be more like, and it wouldn't look like a native Asian Blackanese, like a Jamaican and an Asian mix. It would be more like just a black Goldie and not a lot. So Goldie, whatever. I'm not sure. I'm just explaining. Okay. So Anyway, so in Jackson, Mississippi, and then my father's from Virginia, and then Jackson, they like that's where the Jacksons come from. So this my father's father Jackson, all his children came out with blonde eye, I mean blue eyes, and like my father was like all like or Bart Ernie. Like I could try to look for a picture, but not right now. I'll show you another day. Where they're very light, and then his other siblings very light or whatever, and then they have like brown or like my color, whatever. But most of his children came out with like gray blue eyes, blonde, whatever. Whatever. So I'm just trying to explain to you like what the pale mean. People will show you pale skin and think they're talking about white people. White people and stuff doesn't actually have pale skin. They have more like peach apricot, not pale tan, pale, like, you understand what I'm saying? We're more pale. We're the pale people. If you go to like Detroit and things like that, it's like really people that you would think, oh, these people are mixed with white, and it's possible because, like I advise you, the first interaction with us was with Russia, China, whatever. It's the USRR, whatever connection we had with them. So that's why Chinese people don't really have the Japanese nose, and also Russian people, they have like that Bruno big Zangief, because they're mixed with the British lot Bruno guys, and then they're also like, cause it's like we're all percolating together. You see what I'm saying? And I advise you of why we were circulating together originally was because of the currencies of where we were being ticketed to. So California would be more working with Japan and people back in that area where the currency was taking them. Brazil would be working more with Australia because the currency was taking them there, and so on and so on, of how currencies would take you to certain areas, and most likely that's where the trades will begin. You'll get on a boat and let it take you wherever it takes you, and you'll feel like you're discovering something, but the current is always going to take you to that area. You see what I'm saying? It's not going to be able to take you nowhere else. And they didn't have probably motors and stuff at the time, so currency was where it was taking you, and they were finding and experiencing new cultures. And as they showed you the timelines of when that occurred, they didn't even get into the United States, California, and stuff like that, making that whole market situation, the Mesoamerica, the table shit, to like 1800s. When they went over there and was doing them deals in Mexico, doing that little side deal, and I believe that the Tejanos or whatever, our people, I already showed you mad documentation verbally where they're telling you that when these people come from like Alaska, whatever, because Alaska wasn't even ours. I think this is a scam of how they got over here. When they put Alaska on us, it's giving them gateway to get in here. Because Alaska wasn't ours at some point, then they gave us ours, and then boom, all these people. So you see what I'm saying? Because once you gave us back Alaska, when all of y'all were living in Alaska, like that lady talking about the pit bull, wears lipstick, that politician lady, whatever, these people are living in Alaska, she looks Asian and stuff. And so whatever that lady name was, I don't know, something, Sarah Palin. So these people are living in Alaska, and then you're talking about, oh, well, let Alaska be in America now. Now these people are Americans. You see what I'm saying? So you see the scams? So now you got these people coming down and changing up the game over in the West, and that's why the Wild Wild West was so wild, because you already had first encounter of these people acting like out of control. These are the savages coming from Alaska and missing and things like that. The savages were enslaving white people. They were getting white people from over back there and having them all slaved up like how they show black people were. They were doing that to white people and having them. And a lot of white people that was coming from Boston and things like that was when they were patrolling and trying to start to bring laws into certain states, they were helping kill those Alaskan native. They're not Native Americans. They're Asian, whatever the Mongolians that they say that were coming from that area. They eat people and this and that. That's what the Tatarians were reporting on them. The Tatarians are the Russians. That's why Tataria wants so bad to be a part. The Black Russians, they want to be so bad a part of our stuff because they, at some point, like I said, the USRR, as you can see, they I don't know if they helped. They couldn't have helped build with us because everything was already established. You see what I'm saying? Those buildings and all that capital in our kingdom was already established. They were coming upon us and trying to be first encounters of Montreal while selling us furs and selling us little things like that, coming upon us and trying to work with us. So So anyway, like I said, it's clear that if you could look at the Chinese people features and like you could clearly see that it's different from the Aboriginal South Americans and the Japanese and things of that nature, and that's why the North tried to conquer the South, but we were not a part of any of that. And then boom, they all took control and then jumped on us towards the 1800s, going down towards the east, which is the biggest, hardest fight for them. As I could show you with them turtles, we were not letting them in our area. We were punching them in their face. We were telling them to go back to them. I'm telling you, I showed you documentaries of where they were showing the lines. They were coming up from Florida when they was doing those floods, and we were shipping them back to Mexico and say, hey, go back past that border. Like, what are you doing? Y'all got to go past Mexico and go into your locks area. You understand what I'm saying? Anyway, I don't know how else to explain that. I'm going to try to come back and clean it up some more. But just to show you that it's clear as day that we had a cotton kingdom, and I just want it back. I gotta get something on. Oh, I got the oven on. That's why it's so hot. Okay, so anyway, this is a little bit sloppy, but I was just excited to show that back up my Solomon kingdom. And the Solomon thing is because Latin America obviously came and was fighting or whatever. I believe King James, if you look at the name James, the ending of the name with the ES, like James, like JMS, like it's kind of like Latin, probably more when the Latin people came and was fighting with us or whatever. But I believe King George is more with Georgia and where they was fighting at the mountain stones and things of that nature in Carolina. Obviously those people were probably most likely the rightful people from the kingdom, and it wouldn't have been George Washington. It would have been a different last name. The Washington was put in place for the people, as I told you, like Duke Ellington and those tons. That's to put their stake into this area. But I'm pretty sure, and that's why that name on the street where I showed you it said Washington, they used the last name instead of probably George because obviously George it probably would have been a different last name. You know what I'm saying? And this is how they change over and started to take on our surname because like I told you, the people with like the time, I'm gonna have to show you on a map the names of the estates, and it's clear as day that they don't have enough area to say this originated here. They don't have enough English names and English town names that you could pronounce to say, hey, this English started here. They don't have it. And we already know the Yorkshires is where those Great Britain people that came from Alaska and stuff, those little areas, they went that Jamaica, whatever that's this African Asia, he became a monk. He went to, I believe, Ireland first. He landed in Ireland, coming from Alaska. Those islands over there up top is like the British Islands, whatever. They came from there. This man had to be black, okay, because it was only two kinds of people here: the Goldie and the Locks, coming from wherever I believe they were coming from, which I believe is Antarctica, because this is the frozen, the green. And I'll get into that not today with the poles and poles. Like you gotta understand that all that is connected. So anyway, yeah, so the British guy from the islands, he went and became a monk, caveman, whatever, and landed in Ireland first, and then he went on to the Yorkshires and made a kingdom there or whatever. Probably from like the same where we had our stuff and they had the British, and it was just the Goldie and the Locks. But then eventually, somehow, down the lines of these people being in the Yorkshires, they said eventually these Scottish, it became Scottish, it became these Norwegian people, but these were Asian people coming and encountering them in the area of the Yorkshires, which became Scotland and other things of that nature. Which you can see, it clearly was China, Russia coming into the area of where the French, with Italy and all these things, and then it becomes Finland and Poland, and you have Dublin and all these things. They're all Scotland. All y'all guys are the same. It's the same Asiatic situation going over there, and you guys came and encountered us into America and Central. You conquered Central first and brought your African people, the people, British people, down to the island area in Central America, and made those African people mix with those native people, which becomes the West Indians and things of that nature. So that's why a lot of those Africans, when they were free, they went back to the West Indies. They did not go back to Africa. Nobody is really from Africa. Those Brazilian people, those people, everything is generating from America coming. You understand what I'm saying? Like, anyway, it's hard to explain. Like I said, anything other than America is like just African and Asian. So you understand? Anything like Latin is like a mix of like a Tahino, like a native black like a, it's like us getting more native-y towards Mexico and stuff, but not going past the equator. Once you go past the equator, things go different. Things get different because you're right on the sun. You're right on the sun where they're showing you Mercury, this and that and that. So that's why Brazil and things of that is Portuguese, and they say the beginning of slavery was in Portugal, coming from Portugal, but it's not a coincidence that this whole big area of Brazil speaks Portuguese and is full of Iranians, all kinds of descendants like Indians, all kinds of people, Spanish, and they don't speak any English back there, none. It's more Spanish back there or whatever, because it's the intermixture of the Asian and American dialect. So Spanish is like a Spanglish, like it's like English in Asian, because Asians speak Spanish. It's like Spain, but it's Spaniard and Spanish is two kind of different languages. If you try to pass a test speaking Spanish with Spaniard, you'll probably fail because it's like a little bit of differences. So, because Spanish people are more American, so you see where I'm going with that? But anyway, you have to understand all that. So, anyway, I don't think I'm really making any more points right now. I just wanted to make my Cotton Kingdom point. Let me just go over really briefly before I leave. And I swear I'm going to try to clean up all of this stuff because there's so much information, but I can't, it's like 1,000 pictures and I can't even keep up with all of it. I just tried to show you a different version of a lot of people. I hope that helped out to clearly see the difference in how the planets, they even show you a thing that show you the map is not accurate. They say the map is based off of like traveling, and it's not based off how it's really set up on what we're really next to and what we're really close to. So the states and everything is the way it is. The land masses are the way it is. But they're just saying the way how like maybe Antarctica and then they show you Greenland up here is probably not accurate. Because I'm pretty sure Antarctica and Greenland is connected. And they already said Antarctica is a bigger version of America, and America is a smaller version of Antarctica. And Antarctica is surrounded by the Southern Ocean. So I'm pretty sure that these Goldilocks people is coming from this time. They stayed up in Greenland. We went on into coming from Alaska, going through Canada, into the North Americas and staying in the States and migrating on into the back. When once you go past the equator, you become Persian and Albanian, all that kind of stuff. Kim Kardashian, those Arabs are when they take them across. So this is why the Arabs and the African Brazilians, whatever, the Negritos, and it shows you that those are the Negritos, the ones in Brazil. We are not Negritos. We look like a Negrito, like we're not Spanish. These are black Spaniard people that were being enslaved by these Arab Albanian people. So this is where the slave trade is really originating from, is in Brazil. And they were saying, in Brazil, the city of God. You know what I'm saying? So it's not by accident that they have that that God concept, this Muslim, I'm a God too, you a God. You see what I'm saying? So you see where it's originating from. You have to understand this. You can't let them scam you into this African pseudo fucking history because it's not accurate. That was more Asia, Persian land, and whatever. You know what I'm saying? When they was intermixing from the Britons and the Norwegians, them Asians jumping up on them on the Yorkshires, those Shamrocks. the Jamaican people, the Goldies, the locks, not the Goldies with the locks, and then they tried to bring the rain on us. Like, oh, I know my cousins and like anyway. However, that happened with the USRR collaboration, right? And this is why China and Russia is up because they violated us and then took over all the rest of the people and did a little bit of collaborations with Central America because that's we're two different, North America and Central America is two big deals, so we're two halves. And then everything around it is just a collaboration of whatever they got going on back there. Yeah, so I forgot what I was trying to show you guys. It's a lot of stuff. They said that the slaves used to stew the food, so we know that that's them stewing. We don't stew, we bake. We bake our food in the oven. We don't stew over like a brew. We don't stew. That's the West Indians and stewing, or they stew brown stew, this stew, curry stew. See what I'm saying? They said that the slaves used to cook stews, keep traditional stews. I don't want y'all to think I'm lying. Like I'm reading this from articles. They said they used to cook what did the slaves cook for their masters? Maize, rice, peanuts, yams, dried beans, found in important staples of slaves. Some plantations in West Africa before African Europeans contact. Keeping the traditional stews could be have formed a sub stew resistant to owner's control. I don't even know any of that. But anyway, they was cooking stews. We don't stew. That's clearly who the slave. They brought their own slaves in, and then when they emancipated these slaves, it's basically saying, hey, forget when they emancipated these slaves, they're basically saying, I gotta read it. It's the verbiage of it. They were like, that all persons held as slaves within rebellious states, which Mississippi was a rebellious state. They said when they first came in there, the French people they were slaves, and it was all good until they started hitting their sons, and as if they was hitting slave sons. And then it became a rebellious situation where they tried to enforce the slavery on them in Mississippi. And so this is one of the rebellious states. So anyway, they said they should be set free. But mind you, when you're saying that the slaves in these rebellious states, or the slaves in these rebellious states are being set free, you're talking about the same black people that I was showing you in those homes, those set up all in them homes. You know what I'm saying? And the other people that's mixed with them, and they all was in them homes, the bad looking homes. And then you see how we were living. We were living classy, nice, dressed nice. You see how my great same time frame, they were dressed nice. She had a Bible in here. I don't know what's going on with these other people. See what I'm saying? And I explained to you in the Virginia situation with my father, the Jackson, and this and that. I can't find I can't find any information. We're trying. Well, I'm gonna try to look even deeper. Probably have to pay a lot more, but we can't really find any information about the Jackson side of my father's family. You know what I'm saying? Because they probably got ripped and raped off of all of this stuff. And you know what I'm saying? Not saying because I know that we still have land in Virginia, but that's on my father's mother's side, and I think she's more like native Spanish, like still from here, but maybe more Central or Mexico or California, because her name was like Lorraine, and that's more like of a Spaniard black, but she was a black woman. She was like an Auburn Spanish black, So we have her information. She still has land and this and that. They have their stuff in Virginia, but my father, where she met, and he's originally from Virginia. His name was Alvin, and his mother name was Mabel. Maybelline or something like that, where we can't get any of their information. And I know his father's father and all of them served and had things. So it's weird that we can't get any information from the Jackson's name. But anyway, but I can get information from my mother's name. So that's where the Mason-Dixie cut line come in at. Because Virginia is just right above the Mason-Dixie cut line, where for some reason I can't get my father information. But my mother is in the deep south, in Patrick, South Carolina, where we could get a lot of their family information. Took pictures of these people and this and that, so you kind of could see what was going on in the Deep South, where they were getting records and taking pictures of these people. And up in Virginia, up top, a lot of our stuff is wiped out. In up New York and up going towards New York, where the king more closest to the kingdom, and where everything is most likely starting and percolating over. We can't find no information because probably it was taken, and people that has just because obviously Jackson, like Andrew Jackson, things like that, it's and you just can't tell why I can't find any information. You know what I'm saying? It's just weird, but I can find the deep south information that don't really lead to much. But because I already know my mother's side information. They were living on a plantation, and my mother said, well, from what she could remember, the white people, which if you look at them, these white people, they had like pudgy noses. They were like, they look more Asiatic Jew. This is like how the Asiatic Jew, the original white people that originally came in the South, looked like. They had more pudgy noses, more Hamlet, pig type people coming from there. So they stated that at some point, when the South crashed, when the Confederates lost, it like they said, it devastated everybody's pockets in the South. So they had to leave or leave off the land of the plantation that they were working on. But they were not slaves. They worked on. They just kept the land and was able to live on the land because they just keep keeping the land. If that makes any sense. I don't know. My mother and them don't make no sense. She just said she remember living in old wooden homes and big homes that was cold, and you had to heat it up with the fireplace. And she didn't really remember much, but she just remember being in cotton fields and sitting in the field waiting for people to pick it. But they weren't slaves. They were working to keep in the land and living on the land as well. In return of living on land, they were keeping land. But I don't understand. I asked my mom, if we were here for so long, how did y'all end up? How did these white people ended up taking over the plantation? Y'all living there and keeping the land, but they are owners of the plant of the big house. But she couldn't really explain that. But they all lived in that house. The mom, my mother, her family, Big Mama, the white people, and all that stuff. But anyway, I don't want to explain my family's information because it's kind of tragic and sad after things go bad and they all get kicked out and things go bad for, like we're all scattering all over the place, and families, like big families, is all over the place, and people getting adopted and all kinds of situations. A lot of hardships and things like that after things fell. For the Confederates in the South, but my mother could only tell you but so much. And her family, they all passed away. I couldn't even meet my grandmother. All of them passed away at pretty young ages because they're working themselves to death. So anyway, not young, but like 60, whatever, not young. They're not living up to these older ages at this time frame. Was a lot of tragedy. So we can't even really confirm a lot of things. It makes a lot of sense what we're saying, but we can't even confirm a lot of things that we know because a lot of these people are gone. You know what I'm saying? They made sure that they were gone. I was like, what happened to all the husbands? What happened to Mary's husband? What happened to my mother, my grandmother's mother husband? What happened to all these men? They passed away very young. They were all gone fast. And it was just the women there. And then the women passed around 50 or 60, and 40 or something, 40 or not even 50, because I didn't even meet them. You know what I'm saying? I think they met one of them met when I was young, and the other one, I think they were, I was a teenager. I met her, I think, yeah, but that was my mother's real, because, anyway. So, we're not going to get into their southern stories, but it's a lot going on, and trust me, they don't owe no Africans. I don't know, I believe, like he said, slavery was a choice. They chose to come and take on them contracts and do whatever they was doing, and was paying whatever they was paying. Probably couldn't get out the debts, whatever. And then when they brought these people, it was never upon, let's make these African slaves work. It was always, the scam was always going to be, we're going to transition these people and emancipate them and give them rights. And then it turns into us being emancipated, and we get what we understand what I'm saying. So it turns into a one whole. We freed you all. We were all not slaves. We were all. Everybody know if you go to New York and stuff, they were free. Maybe because that's where the Cotton Kingdom was. And you understand what I'm saying? So it's just like, what are these people talking about? Anyway, also with the slaves like Harriet Tubman, when they was doing this Underground Railroad, they already understand the Underground Railroad was real Underground Railroads. You know what I'm saying? That we already had owned and had things where if there was any kind of issues, they would go in a trap house and go throughout the chute, and it'll land you somewhere out the city, and you'll run and go that's what we had, and those were the Underground Railroads. They tell you this in like a show called Godless in Netflix. They explain to you the Underground Railroad was just to troubleshoot on if we had any drama, they would send the kids and the women and the wives through that trap chute, the underground, to lead you out to like the back, and this is what they'll tell you in Troy and this and that. But I'm telling you, this is our stories, and y'all don't understand that it's just stolen stuff. They just gave. They said you get a black person story, you get a black person, Asians here, you get the in Indians here, and Arabs here, and go on and on and on, here. And the only people that really beat us in the head is the people from South America. But a lot of those people, just like in the same situation with us, where they don't really know what the hell is going on either. It's like certain government top people that took over on them, corrupt. They corrupt over here. On ours, they killed and murdered. We were not corrupt, and they explain that to you that they got the people from Mexico and whatever. They said that they had all our information when those people came to visit them. That they got it from the people that died with the dinosaurs, but we never died. They're just saying this about us because they was going to clip us out the story. Okay, so anyway, I try to explain that as much as I can, and I'll be trying to look for all these little articles to back me up because it's not nothing that I'm just making up. These are all things that has been explained. And they just need to return and do whatever they have to do. We won't be mad. We'll close our eyes. Just return everything back when we wake up. We'll just be like, okay, whatever, like nothing ever happened. But bygones be bygones. Okay, so let me show you this as well. I might not never leave here, bro. Look, so Negroids, okay? Negroids. I want you to pay attention to this article. All right, I'm going to try to read it backwards. So, Negroids, all right, less commonly called congroid because it's a con, okay, is an excuse me, is an absolute racial grouping of various people indigenous to Africa. So this is a various people. This don't mean that it's just black nappy haired because their hair is drying out from the sun. Whatever. That does not mean that. It means various indigenous. That means whoever was born from the land, okay? I don't care what color you are. So anyway, indigenous to Africa south of area which stretch from southern Saharan desert in the west to the African Great Lakes in the southeast, but it's also isolated parts of Southeast Asia. Also, also south parts of East Asia. Negritos. Negritos, okay? Do you get that? You understand where the slaves and where the Negritos went? Brazil, right? So, the term is derived from now discredit the term of Negroids, the saying, oh, we're all black people are Negroids. They said the term Negroids is derived from now discredited concept conceptations of race as a biological category. The concept of dividing humankind into three races called Caucasian, Mongoloid, and Negroid. Originally, the Negroids originally named Ethiopians. So you see why Nipsey and the Ethiopians think that they are all this and that, because the Negroes originally were the Ethiopians. And you see the Ethiopians that when they intermixed, they took them to Brazil and they intermixed it and became whatever Portuguese, whatever that is over there in Brazil, where they're not really black, they're like mixed with I don't know, Asian. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, was introduced in this term of the Caucasian, Mongoloid, and Negroid, originally named Ethiopians, was introduced in 1780s. So mind you, this is after they was all coming in our face after the 1719s, the Polish people and all that. You see the scam around the time frame of all these scams. Do y'all not get this? Where they're like, oh, we about to put y'all all in one category. This is around the time, the 17 somethings, the medieval times, when they were getting real evil in the middle of us knowing them. Medieval times where they were going to now put all of us in one group. When it's not the case. They're only Ethiopians. The only black people over here is Ethiopians. And I don't care how or what else is going on over there. And then they came over and brought them over and became Negritos. Okay, because Asians and all that is all that Spanish stuff. It all comes in deriving from them. So anyway, let's see. Yeah, so I lost what I was just going over with you guys. That's how annoying this is, and I can't find what I. Okay, yeah. So anyway, I wanted to finish this. So it was introduced in 1780 by members of the Gotten Gitten School of History. Gotten Gitten, like what the hell? And mind you, the Shins are the Asians, like Osin, Gogin, instead of like ton and sun is sin, like with an E-N. But I'm going to get into that. Like I'm telling you, that's with a U-S-R. I'm going to keep repeating that because this is the whole point of the old world and our cotton kingdom. They was the first people to be a part of it. And then they united the nations of the south of East Asia and stuff like that with us. And then they started to encounter the actual states in 1800s, and then they harassed us from the 1833 to the 1865s, and then everything changed from there, where the things flipped because they were using these scam tactics. So anyway, so they stated that the Gotten Gitten School of History and further development by scholars Western scholars in the context of racist ideologies during the age of colonialism. Okay, so this is where the concepts are coming from. So don't tell us, oh, the world is full of Negroids, Caucasians, and Mongolians, because the only thing that is the people from Asia. Negroids, Caucasian, and Mongolians, all y'all from Asia, from Russia, Asia, France, whatever. You understand what I'm saying? Africa. That's what y'all are. And y'all become Negritos when y'all came over by Brazil. But anyway, I think I've proven my point with the Negroids. So that don't have nothing to do with us. We're not Ethiopians. We're not from Africa. We're not showed you with those people how different it is. So then it becoming the Negritos, where they Mexicans say the Negritos was coming in on them from Panama and all the way back from Central. So we understand where all that is coming from. Had nothing to do with us turtle people. So in a turtle power, us being in a shell, a hard shell in our area, in our states, because they are surrounding us, and we had to be a tough shell and stick into being, I'm telling you, we were the last to be conquered because we were the be all of be all. They had to do all this to get into the center of the Tootsie Pop. But anyway, yeah, I'm gonna leave it here because I could go on and on and on, and I don't know if anybody is here because I didn't really want to stop and talk. Yeah, it's so much stuff to go over. It's like not even funny. It's like so much information here. I really just wanted to go over the one where they was talking about the sons, and then I'll end it with that, and then show you the two celebrities from Netflix. And I wanted to go over the Colonel Sanders as well because, as you can see, the Colonel Sanders guy, like the name of Colonel, the colonial and the Colombian and the colonists is all coming from the area in Italy. The colonist um, ideology, and as you can see, he looks very Asian. Like he's like the original. This is what the original white people were looking like when they were coming in the South. These are like the Hamlet. I don't know, and these are like the Jews. Like I don't know what to call these people. These are the original white Southern people. They were coming and they were having like these like big noses, and they were like chunky men. They look very Asian like, because this is the Caucasian, the Asians coming across the Caucasus Mountains. When the Asians came across these mountain climbing Asians come across the Himalayas and all that stuff, the mountains, they came across the Caucasus, which was the French Romans, the black, those British, the ones that come from Ireland, the monks, whatever. They was coming across these black Roman men, the Caucasus people, the French or whatever, and they become Caucasians and become the French also, with the Queen and blah 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 blah. You see what I'm saying? This is where all of this is deriving from. Because that's their children, the Queen Elizabeth. I mean, that's their love child. The Julian and the Roman empires are connected. So we already know that the Romans, they're like Roman noodles and stuff. Like they're Roman men. They're Roman men. They roam around. because they got kicked out of of Adam, where Adam is, and what were they said Adam? I forget exactly. I would have to look. I'm not sure if it's Mississippi where they said Adam was from, whatever, and he got kicked out, and they went to Mexico, and then all that stuff is going on. And everybody know that Adam is a black man, and Eve is I would say West Indian Caribbean lock. She's a lock woman, and Adam is a wave here with conservative haircut. Eve would be more dreadlock woman, Medusa. Okay, she'll be from the back. You see what I'm trying to say? It's common sense. So we already understand who's starting the game off. But the issue with Eve, Medusa, it's an issue with her. Okay, it's an issue. And that's what they were trying to explain. Like, don't mess with Eve or whatever. Anyway, I can't. I'm not gonna go into that just yet. So I'm gonna end that there. I wanted to just find the sun thing. That's what I was really looking for before I end this, and I just can't find it. But I really wanted to go over that because that's what really made me go into where the Costco. So this is what really made me go into finding the Cotton Kingdom, and I'm like, oh my god. I said, if this is considered the Cotton Kingdom, no one else is considered a kingdom but us over there when they finally conquered us. It's like ding, 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 ding. This Troy and the floods and all that. Ding, ding, ding. New York. They first came and got on the beach and all that when they took over and took them when the flood receded. They came upon or from Marytown North, and they do that in a lot of important places of where the old world was, and they took the names and they took our real names and they took our state and names like Egypt and other things like Cairo is by Canada, and that's where the Blackfoot Indians were, and most likely that's where like most British and people that becomes like Geneva, Western, like the Geneva people, they're like more Haitian, they're French African people. You see what I'm saying? Like anyway, you have to look into it. I know it for a fact, but anyway, let me see if I can find the kid thing. And I'm not going to get into the Space Force, but you can see that the colonel, the general, we're being overtaken by armies. So the colonialism is the armies of the Marine Corps, of the Air Force, of the Space Force, and the Army is for the land. So they have everything covered. The Marine is for the water, the Army is land, the Air Force is for the air, I guess. I don't because it's Space Force. You know what I'm saying? And so the Air Force is up in the air in space as well. So they're colonizing it by categories of every aspect. So it's all the same people that's just taking over to colonize this into trying to make it into one world order. They finally connected the two, and now Russia and China is trying to just take over in complete Hoshin. They're trying to complete the world domination, Pinky and the brain scan. Okay, and I don't the Colonel Sanders. If you look at his name, Sanders, like the sand, the people from the desert, the Sahara Desert. Like I'm telling you, it's not a joke. And I'm going to explain how they're interacting with yeah, I'll have to explain all that at a different time. Let me see. Let me just try to wrap this up because it's going to be really too long, and I don't want to take too long. But this is the USRR collab that I was trying to explain to you guys about, where you could clearly see that this is 100% Russia at one point. It was 100% Russia, where China and all these things are at one point when it was the USRR. All of these people were in collab with the people from the from the Cotton Kingdom, and then these people also have went around and to the Caribbeans and Cuba and Jamaica and all those things and set shop up there where they took over. They planned to take over of our area. So as they show you the turtles, they say the turtles have a significant presence in the popular social beliefs of an old Arab, as turtles symbolize patience, humility, and persistence. Moreover, so that's like they're trying to describe us like we're patient, we have humility, which is that hospitality, and persistence, which is how we built our kingdom. Moreover, there are remarkable presence and heritage of storytelling and poetry. We're good at storytelling. So yeah, just wanted to show you how they talk about the Sea of the Turtles in the Persian Gulf, and how the turtles are, the Arab heritage, how it's all connected. So it's just to show you how it's no coincidence that when they come over here and they have all their corner stores, and they definitely try to date us, and things like that, try to offer you some sandwiches. Yeah, because they like the turtles. They like the turtles. They think we're nice. So they think we're our humility and whatever they said. We're persistent. We're good at storytelling of our heritage. So, I mean, I don't think they're the turtles because they use the turtles as a symbolism, but it's not them. It's just a symbolism. Okay. And they have all these stores here. So I wouldn't be surprised if they're talking about us. But anyway, yeah, I still haven't found that story. I did find out about 88. That number 88, like Rihanna is born in 88. ASAP Rocky was born in 88. Jay-Z has something about 88. That guy that he's supposed to be playing is 88. So I was like, what is all this 88 about, right? So I looked up the 88 thing, and it has something to do with Hitler. It's connected to Hitler. I can't find that right now. Let me see if I could. I got so many pictures in here, it's not even funny. And it's all information that is needed to be told. But I don't have the information right now. See, there's just more people like us. I just want to, and when I come across the pictures, I'm going to just try to show you guys. Because it's a clear difference of this kind of people. Now, these are the people that they'll say is Native American. This will be the Adams family. This is the fake Adams. Okay, these are the people that have taken over, got their checks. Okay, these will be more like us. Okay, and this is somebody that was fighting in World War One. Then we have these fake Indians with their African Asiatic writings, with the ZZ, the Zulu sign. Like these are, trust me, these are all Asian, African, Asiatic people coming over from Alaska. I did want to show you this picture. This is weird. So as you can see, this is a group of black people in a drop top car, and then all of these Asians surrounding them. Like they were displaying them. Like, look, we know how to drive. Like, we got these cars. Like, I just didn't know what this picture was about. It was so weird. Because you got these black men. And then you got all these Asians. So I didn't know what the hell this was about. Welcome something. They said these were the Smithsonian Jazz Orchestras. Going to Tokyo. But I just think it was such a weird picture. Yeah, so we never wore feathers or anything like that. We were always dressed conservatively. We were always dressed nice. We always just had regular clothes. We weren't living in a wild state form. We were never living in a wild state form like that. That was never us. Okay? These are not us. These are people more towards the west. Mexico. This is when the Mushum went on top of Mexico with the ass. This is when the motion, whoever guy went into Mexico when it was known as the Tokens and became Aztecs. These would be the Aztecs. And then the Aztecs turns into Mexicans when they put more Asians on top of them. Okay, so anyway, and that's where the west, and they'll come into the west and be the savages or whoever. They'll be more towards the west, in those regions, in Oregon, South Dakota, going up more. This is another black lady that would be probably from America, where they more pale skinned people. Her name was Maggie Lena Walker, first African American to organize and run a bank. Okay. Just to let you know, this is how these women would look like, the Marys and the Lilies and all the, you know what I'm saying, from the South. And as you can see, she has her cross on. So this is not no, it's not all by mistake. This is just something that they just need to give back. They need to give it back and go back to wherever wherever, you know, they got to do what they got to do, but they can't just be on our backs. Like, come on. Okay? Yep, so I'm not going to, this is the ship of all of them coming over here. It's like mad at them. All Asian type people, white looking, but they really Asian. Yep. Coming over here by ships. They said this is a 1945 World War II. So here they are just flying over here while we getting killed over there, being inducted into the army by force. Some of these people were being forced to fight and, you know, things like that because they know they were sending them to do so. Look at the skin. This is what the skin was. So here go this guy, right? Look at the story. This snapshot of a farm worker picking peppers in California. Look at this Spanish guy. Look at this Mexican, whatever, coming from the back of like Central America. They said this guy right here, he was picking peppers in California field is just one of the thousands of moments from the Bracero program chronicles in the photo of Leonardo Nadal. In 1942, facing labor shortages caused by World War II, the United States initiated a series of agreements with Mexico to recruit Mexican men to work on U.S. farms and railroads between 1942 and 1964. An estimated 2 million Mexicans contract. An estimated 2 million Mexican men came to the United States on short-term labor contracts through the Bracero program, named after the term used in Mexico for manual laborer when the U.S. needed it most. When came to serve the United States, record Jose Ramirez Delgado, when the United States needed us the most. So mind you, do you not get to scan World War II? If they sending us out to fight, getting killed and murdered in Japan or wherever, and then you're going to sit there and grab people for a labor shortage, 2 million people coming into California, all in the United States working. So you see why they're intermixing over in Cali and stuff. And also, if these people do come back from the war, if they're alive, they won't have no jobs because these people done come in and took it. See, you see what I'm trying to say on this is how it works with the wars and all that. They shipping people out and bringing people in saying, oh, nobody was here to work. So we had to bring people in to work, immigrants to work. So, yeah, these are all one and the same people. They come in and this is like, you think this is a white person, but they're more Asian. They're all, you know, this is an African Asiatic person from their area, the U.S., or, you know, in those areas. And you'll always see them with these people, kids. Wouldn't be us. I showed you how we look like. Okay, wouldn't be us. All right? So I don't really want to get into all this other stuff because this is a lot. I really was just looking for something specific. As you can see, like how everything is built out in America, everything look like banks. They made it into like stores. I already showed you that bank on Eastern Parkway, but they made it to Models. Yeah, this is why they flooded us and took over. They can't beat this. Like they can't. The Tatarians are sitting there saying stuff because they know what we did and they were trying to come. The Russians were trying to come and be a part of it, but they had nothing to do with this. Okay. Yeah, so they're trying to say this is like the native people, but like we said, these are more Mexican people, Asian people coming up and harassing us. I did want to go over this and the meaning of this, but I'm gonna have to do it on a different day because it's just too much right now. Because this explains the timeline on how they reversed it. Okay, like how it went from like 600 or something to like the 19. They just skipped and went into like the 19 somethings, and it's like, how did y'all go from 6 something to 1900s? And it kind of explains everything here, but like if you see like the Holocaust and things like that, the only things that were happening at that time was the destruction of the South and the North America. So yeah. So let me go over this. So this is one also. This is a house of a school of a house of a school, one of the first schools ever, and this was in from World War One. Let me see. Anyway, as you can see, it says One Nation Flag Language School, and as you can see, they have like this like the symbolism right here. I'm gonna have to take my time on this one because I'm gonna have to read what's on the wall and everything. So I'm gonna come back to this. But this was the first school, and this was in I believe New York. They said George Washington. Um, this is where they came up with the Pledge of Allegiance, and it was written on this school in 1892 or something like that. I'll have to come back to this and explain the school. Um, because there's a lot going on right now, and I can't really remember exactly what point I was making with this. But anyway, yeah, because they stated like it was like something written on the school. And this is clearly us writing the stars and stripes, one nation, one flag. Like it's, I'm gonna have to go over this information on a different time and explain. Because it leads to like the town of Dorchester of 1639. Um, and that's in New York, I believe. Dorchester, I believe, is in Brooklyn. But I'm gonna have to come back to that. Anyway, as they stated, with how George goes to George, the trend, this guy most likely was not. When they give you this white hair and stuff, that's the scam. Um, I do want to go over most of these things, but I don't really have no time. It's gonna just take too long. As you can see with the year looks very weird. How they have this button. They say that this is the George Washington inauguration button. And they say like he had to have this button or something like that nature. Um, yeah, I'm gonna have to go over this at a different time where I can make it make more sense. Where they say war is saving bonds, so they're making money off of these things. You see what I'm saying? This is how they are. This is how they get the victory. This is how they make the white man from America. He becomes the white man when he fights in the war. He just becomes a made up character in America. He never existed anywhere else but in America when he came to fight in the war. This is where the white man exists at. Um, yeah. And as you can see, they said the longest walk ever. So and Native Indians was all over the place. Why they had to walk mad far to Congress in America by in New in where they walked to Washington D.C. Like what they're coming from San Francisco. So you could clearly see that they're not all over America, as they're saying that these so-called people were like cleared out from the whole 50 states. They were not around in our area. Um, yeah, these are the people. They are completely Asian. These are the real. When they give you cartoons, they try to make them look all Native Indian, but then really they're just freaking like they're just Asians that were mixing with the people, the Aboriginal people back from the central back in the century. See what I'm saying? So these are like, come on. They don't even like have their clothes on. They're not dressed nice. Like you see how we look. Why would we look so nice and all of these people look the way they look and the Africans look the way they look? But we're dressed really nice and conservative and like we're like the best dressed people. We have the best like nice stuff. Like I just don't get how you guys are comparing and saying that, and these are just totally two different people. Like these are different kids. You know, we don't do the same things, you know? Different children, different kind of kids. See what I'm saying? Okay? Different people. These people look all alike. See what I'm saying? It's like something ain't right. Where y'all from? Y'all from Asia or y'all from America? It's either or. You can't be from all over. Come on, give us a break. They know what it is. Jackie Robinson. Jackie Robinson, okay? Like, come on. We tired of going back and forth with you people. This is flyers they had in America. They was putting up these flyers in America saying help these people out. They were like, oh, please give us your help, a bowl of rice, whatever. And this is like in San Francisco in 1940. I don't know what none of this means, but like they were poor and homeless and stuff like that. Yep. Like it was like a lot of little flyers and stuff. I'm gonna have to go over all this stuff. I can't go over it right now, but it's obvious what was going on here. Yeah, so I can't find what I was looking for specifically, but this is also in New York, the Victorian homes and things like that. I took a picture of something myself and see, it's like when Asia was black. It's the same people I just showed you that they said was walking from the Indians to Washington D.C. The same people. I don't know what kind of games they playing. These are the same people from that I was showing you from back in Central America. The same people. So just this is what I'm saying. This is Asia coming from the back and coming from the top. Um, they were the only people that lived in igloos, and the Africans lived in tents and teepees. We never lived in stuff like that. Never. Okay. Yeah. I can't find nothing for some reason. I don't know what the hell is going on. I don't know if anybody is still with me. If so, thank you. I'm not really looking because I wanted to like just get this over with. Because I know it was a lot of stuff I wanted to say because I don't really come up here a lot, and I do my little videos. And it doesn't really have nothing to do with these concepts. So when I do come up and do these lives, I do have to like take a lot of time because it's so much, and I don't really come up here often to discuss these politics is more politics and social events that occurred. Okay, and we all know that DC, so Washington DC or DC, it stands for District Columbia, and I already told you that Columbia stands for Colonial Umbria, and Umbria is a place in Italy, so that's where the colonial situations is coming from. But anyway, with the Colonel, like Colonel Sanders, and that's where all the sand in the Sahara, if you go down any further, you'll be over there. And that's where you're getting all these people from. But anyway, let me look. I just wanted to show you that one thing. See, this is what I was trying to show you, like the names of the areas of like where you see it says Liverpool, then it says like North Pennies, Newcastle, Manchester, Sheffield, Island of Man. So these are the island men, the island of men, Manchester, blah 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 blah. Wales, and then you got the Plymouth, England. So Plymouth Rock landed on us, coming to Virginia. So you can see where all of these are deriving from. Then when you get to, well, I'm going to have to get into that. So like, it's just the names when you get into it. So like when you get into Scotland, the same area, it starts to get in names that you can't pronounce, like Eglin and Nairn and Inverness and Avitude and Dundee and Stirling and like Oban. Like these are not really American names really anymore. So if this is all in the same area, it's like, why does the names change? But all of ours is. So anyway, I'm going to try to explain that more later. But anyway, so they stated, remembering Kosciuszko, they said the military strategist Kosciuszko was born in 1746. The Polish-born military man is best known for supporting the colonial army. So the colonial army is the land colonists, okay, during the American Revolution. So you see that who was harassing us? This is Poland, England, the anyway, I just showed you that area. So the Kosciuszko was so moved by after the United States Declaration of Independence, he requested to meet its main author Thomas Jefferson. Kosciuszko and Jefferson would go on to form a close relationship, where Jefferson eventually forged a fake passport and securing his friend's secret departure back to Europe. Like, I didn't get that part. Like, what was that about? So Kosciuszko is also known for calling for freedom for American slaves over 60 years prior to Emancipation Proclamation. The cause was so deep. So mind you, if you do the addition of when I advised you, when they really did come over with their own slaves, and then they tried to start incorporating us, and then they finally took over the Cotton Kingdom area of like 1833, 60 years before the proclamation of 1860 something. That would be in that time frame of when they were starting to take over. So anyway, I'm not sure if you're really following what I'm trying to get to. So they stated one of the earliest recordings in because Kosciuszko is from, the Mississippi. Yes, Kosciuszko, Mississippi, and then he was coming into the Nazca. So they say from the time of their first arrival in Naztec, enslaved people resisted bondage. Slavery is, and mind you, they're saying they came in 1719. This is when they come in Mississippi. So they say that it continued through the French and also the emancipation and provocation, blah, blah, blah. So they say one of the earliest recorded indications of an uprising in the area of the Naztec Indian Revolt of 1729. Now, mind you, who is these Indians? If these Indian people that I've already showed you are from San Francisco, Mexico, coming from the Aboriginal area, who will be these people over here by Mississippi? Who will be these people that they're trying to enslave? So anyway, the Naztec, and they're calling them Naztec Indians. So anyway, so the Indian revolt of 1729, because mind you, they said the guy came in 1719. So 10 years of that, they started to try to enslave us, try to throw it on us. So anyway, the French brought the first African slave to Naztec. They brought. So there's people already there. There's things going on already there. These people are just arriving. Who are they encountering? That would be the question. Who are they encountering? So we know the Indians are not these people that I showed you. It will be us. But anyway, understand these Africans were resistant to. So they brought the first slaves in 17 something and to Naztec to cultivate tobacco. Understandably, these Africans were resistant to forced migration and forced labor. Their aggression initially took form of resistance on slave ships, as illustrated in 1997 from film of Amistad. Their arrival in Naztec did not quell the desire of freedom. If anything, it sparked the desire for freedom. If anything, it sparked resistance of Naztec Indians fanned the spark. The French soon recognized the inevitable contract between the enslaved and eventually extended their cruelty to the Native Americans. So the French soon recognized the inevitable contract and interaction between the enslaved and the Naztec Indians and eventually extended their cruelty to the Native Americans. The Naztec, do you not get this? The Naztec Indians became aware that the French began to whip their young boys just as they did their enslaved Africans. Where are we going wrong at, bro? Do you see that? Okay? They said the French, start here, the French, they started to treat the Native Americans, the Naztec people that they came upon, which ain't those people from San Francisco and Mexico, it's us. They started to be our boys. They started to the Indians became aware that the French began to beat and whip their young boys just as they did their enslaved Africans. This cruelty along, where am I wrong at? So I don't think I have to do any more with that. Cotton Kingdom, the Kosciuszko dude had to leave, and when he left on some weird stuff, they said he left all the stuff to Thomas Jefferson, which we all know that Thomas Jefferson probably was a pale black man, and they said he had his own slaves with the young girl. Now, mind you, I'm going to have to explain to you how these Southern black men are. Okay, with Thomas Jefferson probably being a Southern black man and taking upon them young slave girls, them 14-year-old whatever young slave girls as a concubine. Um, Mind you, Thomas Jefferson being an American native man and saying Kosciuszko left him something, but you're not even from here. You got to go back to England. So I don't understand how you leaving somebody anything, but maybe because they work together on or wherever, because I don't know how the incorporation of Russia and how in our side work because they won't tell us nothing. And Russia is such a secret. You understand what I'm saying? And we all know that that's China at this point and stuff like that. So anyway, yeah, so you see the scam right there, right? They brought their own people, the French or whatever. Like, so we already know the French could be black, hate them Haitian people, or it could be these so-called white. Who knows? They're all incorporated over there in the Yorkshires as one Scots, the African, the Italian, whatever. They're all incorporated and intermixing over there. So and they wanted to take over our kingdom. They was like, oh, we like what you're doing. It's obvious they came upon us for, let the totalitarians, oh, we have to, no. Those were the Russian people. In the old map, they showed that the Indians or like the people that's like going towards like Japan, going more urban, they were talking about the people up in Russia in the Tartarian area, China, Russia, like dogs. They were saying they were eating people and things like that. And I'm not surprised because China is just, they eat anything and they're eating dogs and stuff and rats and things. So I'm not shocked that people were talking about them and saying that they were eating people and don't go that way towards the Alaskan area like that. So these are the same people that came, the savages, these are the people. These are the Tartarian, these are all the same deriving of people. The British Bruno Yorkshire guy. Okay, the Brutish guy from like Popeye the Sailor Man, Bruno, like these people from the Yorkshires and things like that. The Popeye the Sailor Mans. They eat their spinach. You gotta eat some greens. Got either the spinach, broccoli, or collard greens. You gotta eat your greens. All right. So yeah. That I think I made my point, and I'm gonna try to make it cleaner one day. But as you can see, I showed you that the Solomon Temple is the exact replica of that building I showed you on Eastern Parkway and what you call it. It's exactly built this way. It's nothing different from it, even on the outside of them showing like when you're coming in, everything is exactly the same. And it's hard to explain that, but I tried to show the best I could. But so it's clear as day why this is the palace in that area and the winning in the Union. And I'm gonna go over the Union stuff. Obviously, I've been here for 2 hours or so. It's not enough time, but common sense. This is easy work. How we could get stuff back, how we could get people off our backs just a little bit at least. That's what we're trying to figure out. We ain't worried about nothing else that y'all talk about. That C virus and the hit, whatever they trying to mess with our little stomachs and like our DNAs, whatever they're trying to do to us. Could you tell that's military based, where they're taking our information and they're labeling us? It's like a science. It's like a science project. You know how they do when they bring the military in and do this stuff. There's nothing new. It's just FEMA and all of them coming over and taking over, enforcing things on us as always. So yeah, and that's just a distraction because they know what we're talking about. They know what we're coming across, trying to figure out, and they're just trying to distract us with these celebrities and all these other people. And I'm going to end my video with the celebrity findings. I'm going to briefly go over it. I hope I don't have to take long on this because I'm tired and it's over. And I will be doing some videos of other, my twinsy videos. It's easier for me to do those videos because I could just do it on my own time throughout the week and just put the video up. When it comes to lives, it could become a little bit more extreme for me to get up here and do this because I have it's like so much weird. It's like I can't take my time out and do it clips and clips and clips and put it all together. I have to literally sit here. So I have to figure out times to have time to sit here without doing, other things in between. So it's hard for me to try to make it short. It's always my lives are always going to be long because it's a lot that I go through when I try to talk about most of this history information. Especially a lot of the stuff that has been stolen and destroyed. When it's hard to explain because you have to go by verbal, and most of the verbal information that will be accurate will be people that is from the area and things of that nature. So I do try to speak out as much as I can because I have a lot of information from family and things of that nature. Especially with when you put everything together of what you experienced in your life and the information that they're giving you is common sense that you can make it make sense for yourself. Other people that did not experience what we went through and lived here throughout all that turmoil of your generation, you would never be like, oh, well, they don't know what they're talking about. Of course you're going to say that. You didn't go through none of the stuff we went through. You didn't go through, you don't have no idea. And all that stuff that y'all talk about, okay, great, but we're just trying to talk about something else. It's not really saying we're taking away from you, because you got your story, you got your payoffs, and you got your, we're just trying to do a little, you know what I'm saying? Like, hey, we didn't die, and yeah, we're still kind of here. The same people that have always been here are still here. You can't make us leave. You're trying to kill us off, but I don't know how that's going to work because it's always going to be people around, like from the original people from that land. You're just not going to be able to exterminate every single person from that area. So I don't know. I guess whatever that they could remove and they could replace, they'll take it, and that's just what it's going to be because their habitat situation. They have to do these things, and I'm gonna try to go over that Goldilocks and the concept of the planets connected to the regions of the seven realms here another day. I just said I want to go over the celebrity stuff. I always keep forgetting and sidetrailing because this is not scripted. I just be coming up here, giving my little 2 cents to whoever wants to listen to it. And I hopefully a lot of these celebrity things you really listen to me because I'm telling you, there's no way. Most of the stuff that I feel like okay, it may not be the same person. They're definitely like in that same weird like because I'm gonna explain like the Full House. It was like a Full House story where they explain how they were making twins and triplets because they couldn't make the baby work so long. So it was like labor laws where once they had to get this kid out of here, they had to get the other kid in. So they were making that. Not saying they were making. They were so called finding all these children stars that were like sets of twins and triplets. But let's be honest, these people were probably creating because these kids, these Mary Kate and Olsen and them, they don't act like they were not acting like regular kids. They were acting like machines. And then the story about how Bob Saget was trying to have sex with the little doll. It was like a little doll, but I'm gonna go over that story because it's very telling, and I'm gonna go over that. But yeah, just to show off of that whole script of them having the twins and the triplets, it just made me think like they're creating. That's what the when they had all them babies in the same thing. I'm like that can't be good because how you gonna tell the difference between these babies? You got 4 babies in one little basket. Like, I don't think I would want my baby in a basket with 4 other newborns. You know what I'm saying? Like, it would make me uncomfortable. Even though I probably would be able to tell my kid, but they just all born, so I wouldn't be comfortable. But because maybe they're making them in groups of twins and triplets to create, because this is why they had all that Orphan Annie and Oscar and all these orphan kids and like Pippi Longstocking, because these kids ain't had no parents. You understand what I'm saying? So anyway, so these kids go on to they had plans. These are the kids that's gonna be doing or whatever they needed to do. They caught that Mary Kay and Ashley say they were show monkeys. So anyway, the concept of the twins and the triplet things and them having them kids in them baskets, it just made me think that they were just creating them. So that's where I get where the Kanye, Ray J, and Reggie Bush, they could have created triplets or they could have created twins, and Kanye is just going on playing Reggie. But Reggie Bush is not a real character. That's why we don't hear from him. That's why we don't see him. Kanye has the big chubby face because that's what they do when they make the second character of Ray J. They add on. So of course he's going to have the fat face. So you see the scam? So even if they're not playing the same person, if possible, sometimes they look alike, but they're not the same people, and they could be in the same room. It's because they probably made twins and triplets of them. And they just don't look exactly alike. Sometimes twins and triplets can come out identical, and sometimes they can come out looking like different kind of people, but alike. And that's where you're probably getting some of these people where you're like, oh, they look like these little triplet people, but they didn't come identical. So now we got like Dejanay, and we got to do something with them. So we got to put this one here. They look alike, but they're not identical. But the identical ones they could use as shifting when they make the move, when they're already doing all these skits. They shift the kids in and out. Anyway, so I'm just showing the point of these triplet and twin videos because they actually are doing this stuff. So I just wanted to show you the newest found people from the show Love is Blind. It came out with a season 2. And I did watch season 1. And I did not pay attention that the fact I watched season 1 over when I finished season 2. I was like, I'm bored. I'm going to remember season 1. And when I watched season 1, I realized, yo, they literally are all masked. They're all fake characters. I've seen all these people before. But they always have like a main character, like a bigger star in season 1 and season 2. So Love is Blind on Netflix, season 1, the main character, the one that stayed together, this black lady and this white guy, that lady played Quad from in the show of Love is Blind season 1 was filmed in Atlanta. So of course I go and I compare the two characters. I'm like, okay, this is clearly Quad, but they did something with her face. They're doing some type of weird stuff. Now I believe that they do something like this with the face, where it's like prosthetics, but also I believe that they're doing something like with CGI as well. And I'm going to show you a LeBron video where they make LeBron look more younger, and I believe that they also could be doing this. With the Quad character and the Jennifer Lopez character, because Jennifer Lopez is playing the Spanish girl Mallory in Love is Blind 2, season 2. She plays Mallory. And in season 1, one moment. Ooh, I had to clean my little lips up because it was getting a little bit chappy from talking so much. Right, so we're gonna get into Quad and her playing that lady for season 1. They gave her the same storyline where they had like a dog. They ended up getting a dog for a child. And of course, Quad has a fur baby. She called it a fur baby, and Quad calls her dog a fur baby. And she also tried to check the white guy for cooking the chicken. She said he didn't wash the chicken. And she was like, oh, we don't do that. Like, black people don't do that. We wash the chicken. He like, oh, well, you don't gotta wash the chicken. He literally said, don't wash it. I was like, ew. He said, don't wash the chicken. So, and chicken is dangerous. Like, you really gonna not wash chicken with salmonella poison? But that's what he said. And she looked at him like, but Quad has a cooking show. So the girl looked at him. So I'm going to show you how they did this. But I wanted to show you the LeBron. I can't never find the video. I want to find her when it's pertaining to what I'm talking about. And then sometimes I find other stuff and switch the subject. So let me just find this video of LeBron and how they CGI'd him into looking younger. It's like a little commercial. And I know you guys understand the commercials, but for some reason, when we show you other stuff, you're like, oh, well, they're not doing it with them. If they're doing it in a commercial, they're doing it in real life as well. Like, why wouldn't they be able to do this in real life with people? This is weird. I can't find nothing. It's so annoying. Let me see. Let me just try one more time. Then I'm just going to go over these two characters. Okay, see, I found a picture now. This is the picture I took. It's also in the same area of Flatbush. This is more towards the, like, Nostrum, I think. Nostrum and Flatlands. Like, if you could see the dome. I took this picture myself waiting for the bus over because I went to Target over there. And as you can see, the dome, and also if you could look at the building, how they have it built like a castle. You know how castles have like those squares? And if you look at this building and the way how it's built, it looked like it was like some type of castle. And then you see the whole top had the ridges of like a castle. And then this bell in the back. And this is all like in the Flatbush area by Notion. Same area that I was talking about with the kingdom. So this is just more kingdom stuff in the kingdom. Just to show you that it's like a lot of kingdom stuff there. Like this is the way they draw. This is the way they draw the cartoon kingdoms. Like when they make those little ridges. Yeah, and the whole building is on that corner. It's like a converted corner. It's the building is crazy, and you can tell it's super old. So yeah, that's the old kingdom, whatever, whatever. So I'm sorry. I told you I was gonna find a picture and get sidetracked. Um, but I just want to just do these two people, and then I'm going. I'm gonna leave you guys alone for a week or two. So let me just find this LeBron. Once I find a LeBron, we're gonna be full speed ahead with the rest of what I was trying to explain. And we're gonna get into the Hippodome. We're going to talk about the Hippodome and how they were claiming it over there, but even though I showed you they ripped down the Hippodome over here. So they're claiming that they have stuff over here and it's really from New York and it's really all our kingdom stuff. They just stole all the stories and stuff and said it was over there in Greece and blah, 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 blah. So it's proven. They can't prove. We have proof. They don't have no proof. All our stuff predate them. They give you fake dates and stuff just to make them look like they're telling the truth, but they're not. I can't find this LeBron video, and it's just annoying because I wanted to prove the point of how they changed these people's faces. Oh, I don't know what happened to that video. I can't find it. I take too many pictures of everything. Like I got so many things in here that I'm just not gonna be able to find it, and I'll be sitting here forever trying to locate it. Yeah, because this is LeBron video. They had him talking to himself in the same video, but his self they CGI'd his face, his same exact face, but made it look younger. So I'm just showing y'all that this is the things that they do. They play around with their faces, and we're gonna get into George Hamilton. And George Hamilton in that Broadway play Hamilton. Because you guys are y'all con artists, the tons, the something ton, the Hamilton. Did you hear that story? So yeah, I don't have no time for that. It's just so much. It's so much, so much, so much to talk about on how they con the crap out of us, and they just lied about everything. It's the Western information. So that's where we went wrong, letting them teach Western people, Western, wow, Moshi. Those are the same people that's coming from there, teaching their education on us. Like, and it's not even their schools that they're teaching their education in. Yeah, I'm gonna go over the Jetsons and the Great Danes. I'm gonna go over what, like, oh my god, it's like so much stuff that is connected with the Jetsons and their dog Astro, and he was a Great Dane. And the Book of Daniel and man's best friend is the dog. I'm gonna go over that concept for you guys one day. Oh man, I cannot find this LeBron video, and that's weird because I know I had it right here. I just literally saw it. I should have just showed it when I had it. But I cannot find it no more. And it really messes up the groove of the video when I'm looking for something I just cannot find it. And just like the Hamilton, when I was explaining to you like that Broadway show, because it's like a show about like some con. Trust me, just like with this, right? I see how this guy right here. May's getting more and more aggressively upset. She starts putting together. She's like, "Oh shit, this is us." Right. So this guy is like British or something, right? Listen to his accent. Right. Do you hear his accent? Yeah, so he has like that British London accent or whatever.
it's like I'm just living. I mean, just for me, I'm just staring at you, pointing at you, and then there's
right. But in the show, this is how he speaks.
so fucking homophobic. She's your fucking sister.
Okay, so you see how he has no accent in the show? So I just want to give you a point where the people, them Hamiltons, them Washingtons, these people will speak British or have whatever accent they have, and then they'll come in America and have an American accent. Like, we wouldn't even know that they had a London accent until they use it. When they do their real person, when they speak as their self. Just like with Stringer Bell. We didn't know Stringer Bell wasn't from the hood, but when you look at him, you're like, he's like British, you know, he kind of like, oh. So now you kind of get it. Like, they will imitate our voices, but you don't see us going over there using y'all. Like, we can't speak London and make it seem like we're from London, like from y'all area, whatever, British, whatever accent in Europe. And then we'll talk like this, and you'll be like, oh, you're not British? But you guys will do this. So I'm just trying to show you the chameleon, the stilling of us. But then you're turn it off and turn it on, but we don't have those buttons. This is just our thing. This is us. But anyway, just showing, because I'm gonna get into that Hamilton and how that little area just went from sun to ton, and I don't think they did ton on purpose. I think they couldn't pronounce sun because they have that strong accent, so it probably came out as ton instead of sun. You know, it's trying to still. But anyway, or incorporate or take on our names. I never found the video for LeBron, so let me just let me see. Let me try one more time, cause I don't know if anybody's even still here. I have to look for this video that many times. I don't know what happened to that video. I had it definitely for sure. It was LeBron, where he was they was doing the CGI. Yeah, I'm not gonna be able to find it. Okay, just to show you this really fast. I just thought this was funny. Where they show like where the guy he taps him. The guy kicks the foot and then he taps him and they get up. And they're like, wait a minute, you mean that this was all staged? Like, yes, all of it is. These are the same people. Look who's doing it to us. It's the same people. They come over here and they con artists. Like, oh, like this is so real. But the guy kicks his foot and he taps them and then they get up. So yeah, this is the Hamilton. They come over here doing all these circus acts, right? And stealing and pretending and lying, and doing all these trick and magic tricks and stuff and voodoo and all these things. Anyway, yeah, I'm not gonna look for the LeBron video no more. That's it for me. Cause you see, if I keep coming across other videos, I go on and on and on. And this is not what that's about right now. I can't find a LeBron video. I don't know what happened to it. That's weird because I came across it when I was just talking to you guys, so I know it's here. Okay. Just can't find it. Anywho, so let's get into Quad playing the role of this lady. I'm not sure exactly what her name is. Let's see. I'm just gonna say forget that. You could just remember how CGI works. I don't know if you saw that commercial. Just use your imagination. I don't know. So yeah, we're gonna go over this girl from Love Is Blind, and she plays the role of Quad in real life. I was like right on the cusp. Okay, Love Is Blind was like the hand reaching out, like no, don't give up. Like Rose and Jack on the Titanic. Like no, that was like Love Is Blind for my love life. I'm gonna have a little flash one because you know it's my birthday. Cam, did you watch that chicken? Yep. No, you didn't. Yep. What's that? Yeah. Now you know Quad does a cooking show. And watch how they say that they have a fur baby, a dog child, having a dog as a child, which is what Quad has. So this is definitely Quad, and they just put on some type of prosthetic on her. And this whole cast is full of people
that are parts that they're all, I believe it's Celine, one of them are Celine Dion. Another one is it's like a couple of people, they're all in masks. You know you do cook this. I know, but it's not the same. You don't need to wash your chicken first of all. I don't know who said that. Well, several government organizations. I don't trust them. Well, I like to wash my chicken first. Now my produce people can reaching and touching at the grocery store. They could have like dug in their butt and then they going to grab the broccoli.
Okay, so that's Quad. This thing was filmed in Atlanta, and Quad is from Atlanta. And Quad was also in an arranged marriage with Mariah, introducing her to her doctor husband. So it's kind of like the same concept.
Sorry.
Same voice.
Chloe, come here, babies, come here.
Now this is Quad. Or Married to Medicine. Another married.
Chloe, you're my baby.
Another marrying show. So you see how they keep it in the circle of their real lives with the cooking and the dog. You see her dog baby right here.
Chloe is a Yorkie poo.
And the girl already said in a different episode that they have already gotten a dog, a fur baby, her and this guy. So it just shows you that they use the same storylines.
If this is giving us, I was like right on the cut. Okay. Love is blind, like the hand reaching out, like no.
And so it's common sense that's Quad. I mean, do I have to really keep showing y'all?
Sorry. Chloe. Come here, babies. Come here. Come here, Pumpkins. What you doing? Look what I got. Kari and Chloe, they're my babies. Chloe is a Yorkie poo, and Kari is a Yorkie. But we don't regard them as dogs. We always regard them by their names, Chloe and Kari. Yeah, out here, you girls are naked right now. Come here. We got to get dressed, okay? We got to see what we're wearing today. Gregory really wants kids. But I'm not ready for a child yet. Chloe and Kari, they're my children. How do we feel, my love?
Okay.
To form such a strong connection over such a short period of time.
If this is giving us, I was like right on the cut, okay? Love is blind, like the hand reaching out, like, no, don't give up. Like Rose and Jack on the Titanic, like, no.
So they're doing a little bit of something with her cheek. If you look at the side of her cheek, it's like the mask always bunches up at the same place at the corner. So the mask always kind of like, it's on the people that's wearing masks, they always get the same weird bunching up areas like by the nose and by the cheek. I don't really have, like, if you see here, like it always be like some type of dimple or something coming over here. It's because the mask is kind of bunching up. But anyway, this is definitely Quad. You hear the voice.
Like, no. That was... Yeah. Now you know Quad. Wash that chicken?
Yeah.
No, you didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now you...
Wait.
That was like... last one. You know, it's my birthday.
Yeah.
Cam, did you wash that chicken?
Yeah.
No, you didn't.
Yeah.
Kari. Wait. Come here, babies. Come here. Come here. Does a that chicken? You know, it's my birthday.
Yeah.
Cam, did you wash that chicken?
Yeah.
Come here. Come here, Pumpkins. What you doing? Look what I got. They're my babies. Chloe is a Yorkie poo, and Kari is a Yorkie. You know, it's my birthday.
Yeah.
Cam, did you wash that chicken?
Yeah.
Okay. Love is blind, like the hand reaching out, like, no, don't give up. Like
Form such
just giving us, I was like right on the cut, okay? Love is blind.
Okay, I'm going to move on from Quad playing the role of that lady. I'm not sure what her name is in the show, but her and the guy went on to get married and stay together. But that was a fake relationship. These people are all playing fake roles. So now comes season 2. They have more people that look like somebody, but this lady is for sure playing Jennifer Lopez. And I'm going to prove it. Not in my opinion, I'm gonna prove it, but in my opinion, whatever. Now I'm gonna show you right off the bat. Look how she's starting to dig on her finger. Watch how she digs on her finger. That's gonna be very important when I show you Jennifer Lopez. She's gonna be digging on her finger through this whole show, and Jennifer Lopez digs on her finger a lot when she talks in interviews. So mind you, of course, these roles are going to be played similar. The lady, she's not a singer, but the guy she married, this guy is like some type of singer, and every time he sings, she's like, "Oh my God, you're so cute!" Like how Jennifer Lopez says all the time, like, "Oh, you're so cute!" Like, trust me, it's Jennifer Lopez. I'm gonna show you exactly that this is her.
Get to work. I really appreciate it.
No, it's crazy. But
now, when you're like judging,
Look, she's already twiddling with her finger. She's ready to grab the finger like the girl did. Right?
When you're like judging on American Idol, do they call you Jennifer, or do they
Look, she's already digging on the finger. She's already digging on the finger. Look. They're gonna do it. I'm gonna give you multiple videos where they're digging on the finger every time they do an interview. It's the same finger too, but for some reason they told this character to stop digging on her right hand finger, which Jennifer Lopez always does with her, and stop. Like you could tell they tell her stop digging on the finger because it's like a giveaway. And watch how she. Just let's look at her. The voice, everything is there. So just listen to the voice. Look at her face. She just has a fatter face. It's like a little bit of prosthetic face, and you're gonna see that the prosthetic goes all the way down to her neck. This is Jennifer Lopez.
Studied music, and I am a teacher for a while.
So you're a music teacher?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So you sing together a lot?
Every single month.
Oh, wow.
Sharing my world with Mallory was really easy, and I feel like she just fits in. Mallory and I started a family. I would sing to my kids all the time. I think that's pretty good.
So of course they incorporate in music.
I don't know, a little group of like or something. De la Sierra Morena, cielito lindo, viene bajando. Un par de ojitos negros, cielito lindo.
Now, mind you, she has a mask on. Her mask is going to be bunchy. It's going to get bunchy on one side of her cheek, and the other side of her cheek, her nose is going to bunch up.
Ojitos negros, cielito lindo, de contrabando. Esos lugares.
Now, did you see this? This is Jennifer Lopez. This is Jennifer Lopez, okay? She's already twiddling her finger.
Very different than being the pods. Like, I've never had anyone do that for me, and so it's very different than men that I usually talk to. Like, he's very much more,
Twiddling that finger.
Like his emotions.
Do you see her bothering the finger? I'm showing you this because Jennifer Lopez is going to be doing this.
He's so in touch with like his emotions and his feelings and communicating those feelings, and just like watching him sing. And when he looked at me, like, it just felt so good, and fell in love with him a lot more today in that moment. God, it's so good. You guys are so good.
Get to work. Call you Jennifer, or do they call you J-Lo, or do they call you Jenny?
See her twitching the finger?
What does one call you? What should I be calling
She's already digging on her finger.
you? Or do they call you Jenny? What does one call you? What should I be calling you?
You can call me Jennifer.
Right? That feels like the most. You feel like.
So is the voice close?
And when he looked at me, like, it just felt so good, and fell in love with him a lot more today.
Jennifer? Do they call you Jenny? What does one call you? What should I be calling you?
You can call me Jennifer.
Right. That feels like the most.
A lot of people call me J-Lo.
Right.
Is that the most formal?
It feels like Jennifer is the most effort for me to make. Because you're
See her twiddling her fingers through the whole time. See this girl twiddling her fingers through the whole entire time. She's literally twiddling her fingers through the whole time. Look at her twiddling her fingers. She's doing exactly what J-Lo does. Look. Look,
much more, so in touch with like his emotions. And when he looked at me, like, it just felt so good. And I love it.
Kept touching it. Now let's look at J-Lo.
You can call me Jennifer.
Right. Feels like the most.
A lot of people call me J-Lo.
Right.
Is that the most formal?
It feels like Jennifer is the most effort for me to make. Because you're J-Lo, I could be J-Co.
You could.
Yeah.
I like it.
You think it works?
I do. I think we should make a rap group together.
Don't even. Because it would be ridiculous. J-Co and J-Lo.
We should do that.
Maybe we could open in Vegas. Could be like,
you can open for me in Vegas.
Yeah, but I worry about you having to follow it.
Let me see, she twiddled her fingers through the whole time. So I'm just trying to explain to you that the characteristics cannot change. They always are being themselves, even in math.
No.
This is something else I read that I don't know if it's true or not.
Okay.
Did you insure your...
Okay. Okay, so now you think it's a coincidence that she also is starring in a movie of marrying somebody? The same concept, just like Quad marrying someone married to medicine. Here she is with a movie called Marry Me, and she's in a show being in a Love is Blind situation where they get married in 4 weeks. So this is, I'm not joking here. This is weird shit, man. Like, these people are freaking crazy. And look how he's peeking. Look how he's peeking at the goddamn camera. Look how weird this is. This nigga peeking at the camera like that for, and it's like she's forcing his hand, like, here, come here and touch it here. And he's like staring at the camera at the corner. These people are weird. That's all I'm just trying to say, right? So obviously the girl here and everything is the same color. Jennifer and Lopez and her are identically looking like. So I want you guys to pay attention. I want you to really pay attention so I can show you how a mask looks like, okay? You see Jennifer Lopez's eyes? See how it's flat? See how her eyelid is flat? Now look at her eyelids. Look how fat and swollen her eyelids are. Because her real eyelids are underneath that mask. Do y'all get it? You get it now? It's the same person. Same nut. Talking all soft-spoken with the same hair and this and that. But in the storylines as well with the singing and all this stuff. The mask kind of bunches up. This is why you can tell when people have masks on, when they have all these creases in the nose and in the face, when it shouldn't be such hard creases in the nose and in the face. You see what I'm saying? How the nose crease really hard and the cheeks crease extra hard. It's like extra fatty cheeks. You know, because it's like the extra skin. Look at the eyes. Look at the eyes. Okay. So this is definitely the same person, in my opinion. For sure. I don't know why they're playing these roles, but obviously it's for money or whatever. I don't know. They keep them working, to tell you the truth. It's clear as day. You can see that the fatter face is what the mask is, like with the Kanye and Ray J. They always give them a fatter face because that's the adding on to the face. Okay, so we're gonna give a little bit more detail of the voice. Look how she's wearing the top bun. Jennifer Lopez is queen. Jennifer Lopez is the queen of top bun. What the hell? Okay, I did some stuff in between it. Yeah, so Jennifer Lopez has plenty of top buns. It's going to be 1,000 top buns. She's a top bun queen, right? And here go this girl. She's always doing top bun as well. She's doing top bun here. She's doing top bun in the other video. So you see when she's just running around, she does top. So this is common sense that this is all leading to Jennifer Lopez. I mean, 100%.
Before you saw how Tony.
Look how she talks to everything. Everything is there.
Before you even saw Sal's face. Yeah. Before you saw how Tony was. Yeah. Before you saw his hair. Yeah. Before you saw it.
Jennifer Lopez all day.
Yeah. We just want you to be happy. No, like happy and all being safe. Like that's all we want. Like you're my best friend. You were like my second mom. Like.
So it's not her mom. Where's her mom?
The best thing that ever happened.
Because this is when they was meeting the family. So she brings the guy to meet her. Talking about this is her second mom. You see these characters? They don't even have a real mom.
It's hard to, think about sharing like someone that you love so much. And
Let's watch her twiddle her fingers again.
He loves me.
Look at the finger. You see it? It looked like she tried to stop. After a couple episodes, they probably were like, look, you can't keep twiddling your finger, ring finger, because you do that as Jennifer Lopez. So she tried to stop, but she kept touching her ring finger anyway, as in this clip as well.
I love her, and
listen to her.
I don't know why I was
This is Jennifer Lopez all day.
I don't know why I was surprised, but I appreciate it because no one has challenged Sal and I the way she
And
has.
mind you, the guy name is Salvador. Her name is Mallory, like Mal and Sal. Like, it's such fake names and made up characters.
This process is fucking weird. But I also understand,
the process is weird because you're Jennifer Lopez,
the way that I do,
and you're pretending you're being some lady named Mallory. Look at her finger. Look at the finger again. Like, they literally, I'm just saying, this is a thing of somebody. This is what the person does.
This is what's right for me.
She has a lace front on her here, just like young Pharaoh. She has a lace front in here. Her whole head. Look at her neck. Look at her neck. Look at her neck.
The way she has.
Like if you pay attention to the show, you're gonna see the neck and everything is just gonna be bunching up. I can't really show you guys. Like, unfortunately, it's not a real good look. Okay, there we go. Look how thick her neck is and her like everything about it's like you have to really pay attention when the video goes too. Like,
look, this process is fucking weird. And it's at the end of the day, I feel like.
Oh my god.
He loves me, and I love her, and I don't know why I was surprised, but I appreciate it because
like you don't see how like the neck is like
challenged Sal and I the way she has. Look, this process.
Oh well, I can't make it.
Weird, but I also understand like the way she has. Look, this I do in the way that Sal does, and if at the end of the day, I feel like this is what's.
Okay, so hopefully you guys get the point. I don't think I have any other videos. Oh, I think I do. Here he goes singing again. That's all he do is sing to her. And it's like on purpose. Like, this is the whole point of her storyline. And the top bun again. See, they're not even really kissing. That's a fake Hollywood kiss. She's like literally on top of his lips. Their lips are not even on each other. Her lips is on top of his lips. Fake kiss. This is a whole like movie for her. Like, she's just doing a movie. Okay, so yeah, that's Jennifer Lopez for sure. I don't know how else to explain it. Just wanted to show you this video. She was definitely on drugs here.
We were supposed to do a pop-up, guys. Is this on my count? Oh, yeah. We were supposed to do a pop-up tonight, but of course we could not. We're gonna watch Away 2020 in a little while, right? I'll be back. So join me there. Call me, text me. She's all in the J-Lo.
And look at the mother in the mask.
Mask.
Okay, so yeah, that's all I really have.
And I'm ready to wash it off. I like to put a little bit of water on it first, and then we're gonna use.
Okay, that's all I really have.
It is like a whipped cream. Sometimes I still want to eat it. It is like a.
Yeah, that's all I have. So I don't know. I didn't really put no side by sides, but it's definitely J-Lo. They're definitely the same people. Okay, so that's all I really have tonight. It is super late. Whoever was still with me, thank you guys, and enjoy the rest of you guys' night. I hope I made my point about the Cotton Kingdom and the Solomon Palace actually being the kingdom over there in Brooklyn. It is kind of like common sense because of the way it's built. It looks more specifically to that in Brooklyn than what they show you in over there in Egypt, I believe, or Africa, wherever they have the Solomon Temple somewhere over there where it's supposed to be. It doesn't look anything like what they show in the picture. And what I showed you guys in Brooklyn was identical. And it has like a trustee room and all that where you could tell the chambers. Anyway, so that's all I really have for you guys. I wanted to show you a lot of more of the scammers. As you can see with the A-listers, they do change their looks. Obviously, because they'll be too noticeable. So they do like some type of whatever, because it's common sense that the storylines always match in the time frames of the way how they do. Like I just showed you with the Marry Me and this and that. I don't know why they do it. This is something they'll have to explain to you. I'm assuming that they just keep them working, and if they need these people, they'll let them know. And this is just the way it works in their field, because like literally, I don't think it's that many people. It's probably like a couple hundred, and they making them play roles of millions of people, so they're all got doubled up. And it's all for marketing, and trust me, it's for the money. These people, once they, like Jennifer Lopez, and make big money, of course they're going to continue to use these people, the higher people, of course, because they're making the most money from these people. So they'll always have them into whatever they need them to do. And you can see this is the new scam where I think a lot of movies and things are not working like that no more, and they're going into streaming and reality things. So these celebrities, A-listers, or whatever, are starting to get into where the money is at. They're going where their money resides. Okay. So anyway, like, share, subscribe, and if anybody have an issue with any of the information I talked about with the Cotton Kingdom and the people there that where you clearly saw those black people, those slaves, the Negritos, I already went through all that, and how they started to come over in the 1700s in our area, started for after 10 years, started after beating their slave boys, they started beating our slave boys, took them out. These are Naztec Indians, but ain't no Indians that I showed you that look like that lived over in that area. Just us. So obviously we are those Naztec Indians, blah, blah, blah. Troy and Albany, all that is in Brooklyn. This is all part of our Cotton Kingdom, from the Turtle Islands, South, the Southerners, the Southern people, the people from North America in the East area. And of course the whole 50 states is incorporated. We did spread out over. It's from, as you know, the song where it says, this land is your land, this land is my land, from California to New York Island. So we already see, this land was made for you, and whatever. You know what I'm saying? So we already know that the whole 50 states is where it's at, and this is where things are changing. And we felt it. We definitely from America. I don't know about everybody else, but we definitely from here. When we go to other countries, we could say y'all from wherever. When y'all come here, you're gonna say we from here. That's all y'all could really do. So anyway, like, share, subscribe, and hopefully I'll be back soon to make more of trying to make sense of what I'm trying to explain, and give more of whatever information I come across that I think will be helpful for people to understand more of what's going on in the past. And obviously, the present is repeating itself of the same con trick scams that they were pulling, and hopefully we can more people that needs to know. Doesn't have to be necessarily me, because as you know, a lot of things have now mixed, and it's whoever is down for America and not really with all the the I don't know what they call it. It's like a mano what a chauvinist. Like, I don't know what kind of situations they got going on and what kind of they live at poly fou français. If you into that, then fine. But the people that's not into the poly fou français and is really into like being righteous, good, decent people, you don't have to. Some people just probably have like a grandmother where like, oh, well, she was native. That's us. So maybe while you're or a decent person that that's not that bad or whatever, or not that, it's probably because you got a grandmother that was native or something. You probably mix a little bit with us, and it gives you a little bit of more hospitality and a good-hearted nature, and that. So I can't say, oh, all of you, because a lot of people are mixed, and a lot of people probably have more tendencies of what we practice, and that's fine. And whoever could stay, but a lot of people, they pretend, and then they do all that stuff behind and in my face, and that's the issue. And we can't trust any of you no more. But anyway, hopefully everything works itself out, and everyone of the enlightenments gets to where they belong. And that's what I'm just saying. Mind likewise, religion wise, I feel like everybody should just go back into their spaces that where those personalities are supposed to be, and stop trying to enforce and change something that, as you can see, they split it up, and we have different ideologies, and we're mirroring for a reason. It's not meant for us to be on the same path. It's meant for us to be on opposites, and however we make a cancer, a Cain mentality, trying to make it a yin, trying to make it work somehow, making these positive and negative fields work together somehow, which those forces do strongly work together. But who knows? Anyway, I'm not even sure what I'm trying to explain. So let me get out of here, guys. I did enjoy my time with you. I didn't really check the comments, but I will. I had so much to say that I just wanted to like prove whatever, all that little information that I found out with the Mississippi, the Kosciuszko, and this was called Cotton Kingdom. My mother didn't even know it was called Cotton Kingdom. So I'm like, why are they withholding all this information? But it's important, because why would they tell you live in a Cotton Kingdom and we have all these kingdom things and we think we're kings and queens? It's like common sense that, like this is not told to us what it should be. Or that time frame, that time frame, and all this information that should have been explained, that it was people coming in contracts and doing deals with other people bringing their own workers and things like that, and us going over other places, and all at some point all the work stopped, because they never wanted us to help build out their third world countries. They wanted us to work on some things, but they really just wanted to take over what was already built out and established and executed. Why would they want us to try to build? And then they probably realized it was going to be way too much work to try to bring all this material and build out all that stuff over there, when they would have to use their stuff. And their stuff does not survive as long as the landmarks we have here, because of the materials that we use. So anyway, that's why it's important why they probably was like, let's pretend we want them to help us, get them over there, but we really gonna come over here and we gonna pretend they from there. We hope they die. Like, I don't know, you see how that works. Where it was a scam from the jump that they were just gonna jump on us at some point. It was like gonna happen eventually. Like, they were always surrounding and plotting and eyeing this kingdom. They always wanted this, so it was going to happen eventually. Yeah. So like, share, and subscribe, guys, man, and um, let me just one moment. Let me just see if I'm still up. I hope. Okay, I think I am still up. Great, and it is a couple people in the chat. Thank you so much for being here with me. It's super late, and I'm gonna be tired tomorrow morning. But shout out to Frida. Thank you for being here. I do see you a lot, and I do appreciate most of your comments. You're always a good person to comment. I love people that give great comments always. Whenever you have something on your mind, share it. I do get a lot of material and other findings from things that I'm telling you, when we work together, all great things happen. So yeah, Solomon Israel, what's up? Nike 316, Latoya Stewart, Michael Mag, thanks for being here. Denise Rivers, Bernard Frederick, Annie the Diva, hey, and Lord of the Universe 13. Okay, what's that name about? Too much, yeah, Makai Knight, and I hope I didn't miss anybody, but if so, thank you for being the little bit of crowds that I be getting. Thank you for being here because I always come for y'all. I always see that it's not big numbers, but it do not matter because the people that are here, I do want to make sure that I always show up for you guys and hopefully, because enough, it's not enough people like us talking, and it's like a lot of people saying a lot of other things, and it's not. None of that stuff helps us. Anybody that's talking about other races and in corporate, they are working for the other team. These people, those other people, all those stuff that they be talking about. I don't care what incorporations they had at some point here. They are not the dynamic baseline of this place and what has happened here, what we created. I know that we are able to create and do things like this because I already told you my brother has built computers from scratch, like literally like big old looking. I'm like, people don't even use that number, but he just needed something free, and I create all the time. I'm very like, so I just know that it's just possible. And I'm the type of person that I like working on projects to the point where it's done. Like sometimes I will stay up 24 hours. If I'm painting a room, I want to finish this room today, and I will just be. So I understand the persistence of building and doing things, and we could get this stuff done. I'm listen. I'm pretty sure the our capabilities. So when I'm seeing and knowing these things, it's just like, what are you? When people are saying all this other stuff, I'm just like, so why didn't they do it in their country? Why do they have to come here and then it all of a sudden, oh, they're so smart, they're creating everything, and then everything that we say, well, how did this get built? How did this? It's never them. They're never saying, oh, we did it. They just be like aliens, and it's like, bro, you're that sad, you're that mad that you're gonna blame it on aliens or these these black Russian Jay-Z uncle looking people. Like, are y'all serious? Like, bro, it's not that serious. Just get over it. It's not that bad. Just say we brown and red people always were here. Say it. Say it. Say it. I know y'all probably they're like, no. But anyway, whatever. Enjoy the rest of you guys' night. I just wanted to make sure that I was up here and that it was taped because sometimes a lot of things occur, and I'll be looking like, what the hell, nothing taped, or my sound wasn't, so everything seemed like it cleared out, and this just saved, so other people hopefully could catch the replay, because this is the late night lives, with Kids Michelle Views, and enjoy the rest of you guys' night. All right, bye. Let me see.